Good morning, everybody.
Since I've seen you.
Huh?
It's been so long since I've seen you guys.
I know. It's been
Yeah.
almost 30 seconds for a long 30 seconds. So good morning, everybody. We have to pretend like we just met, though. We have to pretend like we didn't just talk for 45 minutes and we should be live streaming the whole 45 minutes. But, I was going to start off with an exhale like, sometimes you just got to exhale. Sometimes things get so freaking nullified that you just have to just exhale and breathe for a moment. Just sit back and breathe. And I know we've already given this a name. We're going to do what principle-based ancient wisdom, unblemished, and that probably deals with a lot of what we talked about for the last 45 minutes. But sometimes you got to just take a break and let a little air out the ball. The ball's a little tight. You don't want it to pop. A lot of things have transpired, and we're only on day 10, people. Day 10. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year.
We're in the half of this month.
Welcome to Psycho World.
Right.
Yeah.
Let the games begin.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, right?
Somebody is. I was entertained when Cat finally admitted that the PCR test didn't work. I was entertained. A lot of stuff is entertaining. I just, they finally admitted what he said like a couple years ago. We've been saying all year, like, y'all know they haven't isolated it yet. It doesn't work. It's a cuckoo virus because it literally doesn't work. Did y'all know? I don't know where this is going to go. I got a text yesterday or something. I had to ignore it. It was somebody in my family. And are they giving out, what was the name of that sticker? I'm cuckoo virus safe. I guess a cuckoo virus. You can't call it what it really is. They get stickers and it says I'm cuckoo virus safe. And
they love their stickers. They love their stickers, don't they?
They're wearing stickers and you're like, whoa, just walk away.
Like, I serve the new world order.
What more perfect emblem of keeping adults in an infantile psychology than to give them a sticker?
Your sticker and your lollipop.
Right. And we can trade stickers.
Yeah.
We used to trade a sticker for something better. You know that in a childhood when we get stickers and we this is a nice color. Okay, I want the candy for it. I want this. That's what we did in childhood.
Yeah.
Did it change? No.
Something they haven't even isolated yet. They haven't even taken a picture of it yet. Nobody knows what it looks like. And somehow they created a cure. I said, I hate to say that I was right, y'all, but I was right almost a year ago. And I said, they're going to cure this thing before they know what the thing is, right? They already got tests for it that don't work, and they've admitted that. Now they got cures for it that probably don't work because they don't even know what it is. But people are happy, got their sticker and their lollipop and a donut. It's like,
Wait, so I took a screenshot from the article, but so the Pfizer chairman, Albert Bourla, did a Dateline interview with Lester Holt and said that the pharmaceutical company was not certain if the vaccine prevented the coronavirus from being transmitted. And this is something to be examined. So it's safe, but you don't even know yet if it transfers.
Yeah,
like,
the water question can be
but these are magic hands. Like, wake up, magic people. I don't understand.
I think Del Big Tree said it best. He said it best with the magical unicorn. He said it's going to be the magical unicorn. So if you live in a world of magic, it can make things out of nothing. And it's just, it's where we are, people. Yeah. It's where we are. I think that, it's good, though. It's all good. And I know it's probably kind of cliche or something that I keep saying that, but it is all good. It's a great thing when the people who completely, like, I'm with science. I was thinking about it this morning. And it's like, you don't even know science. Are you dating her? Like, does she know you?
Or my favorite, Gerard, is I believe in science.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
really? It's a religion now, is it? You just admitted it, right?
It is.
Do you even have her phone number, or do you like just use part truths to you're out there cheating on her with the 1%? They don't even know science. Like scientifically, they haven't isolated the damn thing. I'm with science. Does science know you're with her? If not, it's just crazy. We live in a crazy world. I had to just correct my family, and I try to stay out of it. I do, because sometimes I don't know what to say, and it's just like, I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Never mind. I don't want the conversation to go that direction. We're gonna talk about principles, right? Like why principles are important in times like this, right? If you don't know how to look at a problem, you will never know, one, how to solve it, what the problem is, or if somebody's playing you. Good example. I got pulled in, y'all. I got pulled in this weekend. It was something sexy. The Italy president was arrested, and the CCP is being banned and shut down because the laptop had 3 hard drives, and one had, the crack pipe with Hunter and other things, and the second hard drive had something else, and the third, and I'm like, it's delicious. I'm just eating this stuff up. I'm just eating it up. And part in the back of my mind is just like, this might be some more cute stuff. It's delicious. I was eating it, but then you have to kind of pull yourself back at a principle level. And I asked that question this morning to people. And I just, because as much as you want it to be true, that we're about to create a new world, and this is it, and this is where it's going down, I have to stop and say, well, wait a minute. What are the odds that they're going to let that type of information be broadcast on their servers? On their, because all of this is deep state, right? All of this, like the only reason we're here right now is the deep state is blessing our we bless what you're about to say, right? Because they can shut this stuff off anytime they want. It's their server, their network, big tech runs all of this. And if they let it stay out there, odds are it's not true enough to affect anything. So it just seems, I guess we're in the last days of the T administration, and which you can't even talk about it now. They banned and blocked him. Conservatives are quiet everywhere. I don't see him nowhere. It's like crickets. They're either in the bunkers, like on face paint, getting ready, or they're just deleted and are being sold and banned everywhere. And so, and this is I'm gonna say this, is that sometimes people hear you and like, oh, you must be a Donald Trump supporter. It's like, I speak up for people who cannot speak for themselves, and I always do that, right? And this gets back to my text that I just got. I explained to my family that, they're talking about, I'll go ahead and say it. I always speak up for people who cannot speak for themselves. Right now, it happens to be conservative because they're being banned by big tech. Not a few minutes ago, I got a text, and it was talking about the birth rates of Black babies in Florida. And somebody who's been fighting oppression and racism a whole life to fight for Black babies and stuff. And I think that's a great thing, to a degree. Right. And then, everyone's chiming in how horrific this is. This is what Black people talk about when y'all not around, by the way. This is how horrific it is. And so I just very quietly just interjected in the conversation. Has anyone really checked into the Yemeni birth rate? Right? Because those babies are brown too. To see what's happening is we like to pick and choose whose lives matter more. Right? And so the thing is that this whole colonized world, it gets us to embrace these dark vibing ideas of identity where you're broken apart, not even from the tribes that you came from, but the tribes that the 1% want you to be in. So you're cheering more for them than anybody else. And to me, it's not horrific. And I said it in a mean but nice way to try to get them to realize, not just say karma seems horrific, but it's not. It's just karma. And it doesn't mean that those kids deserve that. It means that when we embrace and cheer and are happy with this colonized world, that it's okay to kill babies, drop buildings on them. Of course, your birth rate is going to be low. Karma doesn't care anything about our emotions, right? It cares about balance. The universe will always balance out. And so we have to look at ourselves. Anyway, that was my point. We always have to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. And that's how we get somewhere.
Yeah, what's interesting about karma, I was also discussing it this morning, say, but how can you go along with all those people who suffer, like you say, in Yemen, and and the little children get raped and all the kind of stuff? Yeah, but that's karma. I say, that is not an excuse for us. It might be karma, I don't know, but What is our task? If I can give so much love to someone who might be not good, then he can change his way and become a good person. That is our task. It's not for us to decide, yeah, that's karma. What will happen
Right.
when it happens to your child? What will happen when it happens to your friend being treated like we see? And you think it's karma, you will be extremely hurt. I mean, I don't think anybody is without, like, you cannot be stoic, I think. If you see your most loved ones suffer like hell, suffering beyond measure. I mean, like these people in Syria and things like that. No, it's our karma to be there for those people, and it's not our task to just, okay, they suffer because it's their karma. Then we get double of their karma. That's what I believe. It's not our task to just,
Right.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
And is karma just fate? Because these are the choices you made, and this is what your fate led you to, and we call it karma. But really, it's our behavior all along.
yeah.
Yes.
Which will educate you at the end of the day. And the whole point, you know, if I can give my it's not there to hurt you. It's not there to spank you. It's just that we set into action portions of the events that go around in a cycle. And if you can step outside yourself, you can be taught by these things. And so you learn, okay, so how can I feed into Black babies or any babies dying more? Right? How can I feed into that? I mean, less. What do I do? Do I cheer for people who are okay with this? Do I cheer for people who don't allow natural childbirth? Do I cheer for people who are perhaps sending karma around the world that comes back like a whirlwind to us? And so this is the thing I love about like ancient wisdoms and the principle stuff, which is all relatively new to me. I mean, this is a voyage I've only been on for like a year and a half now, which is, I guess, scripturally longer, but, you know, looking at other texts, which is how am I complicit with all of this? And what can I
To neutralize karma.
to neutralize as much as possible, not negative karma, but karmatic, you know, actions that occur because of things that I do. And I don't worry about anybody else. It's not about what anybody else does. And
I think the one thing that expunges our karma, I think the one thing that expunges our, if you want to call it karma, our karma, more than anything else is when we actually reverse what everyone else is doing within themselves. And that is actually turn around and look at ourselves. And accept, because looking at yourself means not pushing the pain away. It means accepting and feeling the pain right now, the pain of my choices, the pain of the lessons that I've learned, of the wrong decisions that I've made, and allowing the universe to show you who you really are and the mistakes that you've made, and to learn from that. Learning is painful, but it is so less painful in the long run than what they have chosen, which is sleep. Sleep, it just merely, you know what sleep does? It puts off the pain until another day. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be numb. I don't want to have to think about my life. I don't want to have to think about myself critically, objectively.
Always justifying yourself. It's what people most of the time do, not to look in themselves. And if we can look at
laziness.
Yes, it is
intellectual. It's intellectual. I love that new word. That's a sexy word. Intellectual laziness and spiritual laziness.
Yes.
It's like, you know, to me, I was thinking, I always have these little weird thoughts, but it's like righteousness. I was like, I'm thinking everybody is enveloped in righteousness. Like everybody to a degree is a part of righteousness, but nobody's right. You know, everybody is enveloped and everybody is righteous. And we need to treat each other as though we are righteousness and we are right, but nobody's right. You know, and to me, what righteousness is, it's a voyage, right? You are seeking this thing. You are going down a path. You'll never get there. You'll never be right. No. It's just a path, and it hurts to go down that path because it's constant looking in your own mirror and fixing your own problems and how you're a part of all of this. And so you can walk down that path You can run down that path. You can crawl, drag yourself, limp, but keep going. Don't ever sit down and be proud. No, I'm not going forward. I don't want to examine myself because, like you said, Jonathan, it's easy to not examine your own self. It's easy to proudly sit and don't see righteousness. And the whole point of these groups, and I'm just giving an example because it's just the world that I live in, is that I just see people doing this all the time. And that's the only time that I even want to get involved where I see them blaming everybody. But the Americans did that. The white people did that. Black people did that. Immigrants did that. The Democrats did that. The Republicans did that. And everything, it seems, what breaks to try to circle it back to like a principle-based life, based in some sort of ancient wisdom that is unblemished, is you can't have a blemish. And identity is a blemish. Once you get in a group think will happen. You cannot avoid that. It will literally make you just having an identity, you will be blemished. Right? So you have to remove that. And to me,
that's why groupism is such a bad thing. I mean,
it's a vulnerable thing. It's like taking your clothes off and running down the street. You're basically taking off all that protection, and you're having to examine yourself. It's problems because you don't have that protection of the group. You don't have all these people to find monkeys in the pot. You can get around to back each other up. So.
Now you stand for yourself, and that is actually what we have to learn. Totally in alignment with spiritual law. And that is not relying on nobody else than on divine laws. That's why all those holy people, the prophets, most of the time they were killed because they were not relying on anyone else than on the message of the divine message. So they were not grouping with those people or those people or those people. They were only aligning on justice, on divine justice, I would say. But most of the time, it's so easy. People looking for they're the same group to back them up. But actually, you should be able to stand up for yourself, not for justice, I would say, and for everyone's justice. And that's how you break the circle. Now we're creating always more and more karma because we blame always and instead of see it from above and breaking the circle. It's like Buddha and like the path of Tao. Just in that, you have to break.
I'm going to apply that to something else that's happening. I just got a pop-up, and I keep getting these pop-ups to impeach Donald T. Right, and I'm trying to not say things, and I always say that because again, it's learning software. It listens to every word, and if you make a cast about a certain thing, it will make sure the people who should see it won't see it. So all the pop-ups about this, right? It went to IMP the guy, right? And I'm just sitting back and I'm like, but what did he do? Right? What did he do that was so bad that the people who want to IMP him didn't do?
You want to impeach him, but you didn't want to impeach Obama, who committed actual fucking war crimes? What is wrong with you? You are an immoral person. Sorry.
Jive Bowden killed more black people than anybody alive, except for maybe Obama. Jive Bowden did it by putting them in prisons and putting police on them with the crime bill and drugs, and Jive and the other dude dropped more bombs on him. And this is why I just sit back and I watch this stuff, and I'm just like, wow, are people this ignorant, or is it just they're brainwashed? Because I asked the question, I just sat back and I just said,
no, Gerard, you're obviously a racist.
I'm like, what did he do? What did he do that the others actually didn't legislate to him? That's the damning part. Because they just said, well, he incited a riot. Really? Did you invade a nation? They wrote legislation to invade nations. What was it? It was Barbara. Wasn't it Barbara Waters or Walters? Whoever it is. Didn't she? I'm gonna say she started, but wasn't she the one who said something initially, and then all the Oregon riots and everything started to happen?
Waters.
Nobody called that. I don't even know who these people are. I see posts and pop-ups, and I don't really like dig into it. But it's just like. We got to step outside, and this is an example.
Identities, right? 100% identity.
It's not a hit on the left, and it's not a hit on the people who believe in these heroes and all this crap. It's just are we really trying to become righteous, right? Are we really
Yeah.
walking down that road? Are we really trying to shed identities and become a human population? I got another saying for you guys. That is, I think man's greatest illness is the fact that it thinks it is a man. I think the root illness, our
we are
root
not yet.
disease, and it's not man as in man, with the eggplant, but man as in mankind, right? Like our problem, our greatest disease is we think that we are, and we don't.
We're not human. Yeah, we're not human anymore. I think there is a tribe in America, the Shoshones, and it means literally. I mean, I read something about it. Becoming a human being, because they were already realizing we are not yet there to be a human being.
Yeah.
And I find it was a nice, really beautiful saying, that becoming a human being. We're not there yet.
No. And I think being in a state of like really not knowing yourself and not knowing what's going on and being unsure and admitting that is the most honest way you can be right now, because none of us really know anything.
Nothing. Yesterday,
And it's okay.
we're going after y'all.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was like, the CCP is collapsing, y'all. It's going on. They're coming for the deep state. I'm like getting excited. I'm watching these videos and stuff because they got the Chinese billionaire guy and he's promoting these videos to get us all excited to think that things are falling. The third laptop, the hard drive, it's got something about the cuckoo virus. I'm like flipping out. And y'all were having a discussion about something else. And I had to kind of be pulled back. It's like, just, okay, breathe, calm down. Like, we all want good things to happen, but it's
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I say when
Glad I
people are
didn't go
like,
video.
you're crazy, like we're not going to be like China. I'm like, are we wearing masks? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's like the American flag's been made in China for like 20 years. Do you really need to know anything else? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so obvious. And I'm not blaming China or anything. They just came up with a good worker slave plantation, plan program, and America is going to do it.
Right.
America wants to do it too. I know, I work on one.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up problems without ever mentioning solution as much as I can. Like, what are solutions? I say them at the time, and this is like, that's the number one cop out. People like to say, like, hey, you think about Japan, you never talk about this nation. Like, so I try to embed as many solutions as possible. Like, how do we get out of this? What should we do? It's only day 10, people. It's only
Gerard.
What should we do?
You gave us the answer to that some time ago, and it's to build a new system. It's not to fight them.
No.
It is to go outside of them and build a new system.
Yeah.
Build a new world.
You get really sucked up in all those conflicts and the fights.
Yeah.
And at one point you might lose yourself anyhow. So I really want to escape this crazy world. And
it's designed so that we lose ourselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's what I was going to say earlier when he was saying something about separating us to get it into different, whatever teams to get to turn on each other. They separate us from ourselves. That's the number one thing they do, because if we weren't separated from ourselves, then we would see through all their bullshit and realize we need our other fellow human beings to make it.
Yes.
Yeah. And if anybody in the CIA and the academic agencies who think that it was my idea, how Jonathan said, to just go back and build your own world, it's not my idea. All right. I got that from smart people. I'm a parrot. I repeat smart things. I'm good at doing that. But build your own system. I love it. Yeah. And I think it's right, Jonathan. I think we need, if this system doesn't work for you while it's still legal, go build your own. I don't know if you guys watched the video.
And that is what I
posted
think.
a video.
Yeah.
I posted a video this week. I hope you guys watched it, by Eric July. And what he was talking about is just, he said, you know what, you have to go. You have to go if you know what they're planning and you don't want to be a part of what they're planning. If they're telling you that you cannot buy from their grocery store, if they're telling you that you cannot go into their movie theaters, if they're telling you can't use their infrastructure or drive cars on their street, then you have to be willing to go to jail, or you have to just go build your own system. You have to go build your own town. You have to go provide for yourself.
Yeah. That's it. And that is actually what we're meant to do. We have to stay centered. And that is doing what we are meant to do, is being creative and positive and constructive. And that is what we can do outside this system.
Yeah. I know. I don't understand, right? So we are made in the creator's image.
Yes.
We are creators. We're
Yes.
not made in the image of destruction. We're made in the image of creation. So I
Yes.
don't understand with all this having to break everything. Why do we have to break everything?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to hit Brett's comment. She had a long one. She always has something deep to say.
Yes.
I'm on social media enough to at least know that it was the extreme left, BLM and Biden supporters earlier in the year. Now it's the extreme right, Q, et cetera, and Trump supporters. Yep. All I can say, we need to work together on ourselves. There's another reality. Yep, there are lots of different realities. Don't get trapped in the reality they are feeding us. Observe, but don't take in that energy. If you can't observe without absorbing, then don't even observe or observe. Absolutely. And this is the thing, and this is what's weird too, because they swap teams, they swap sides.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's like anybody who actually thinks the
that any of this is real.
Like, have you ever been to the Capitol? I grew up not too far from the Capitol building. I can promise you this. The minute you get inside of DC, they know who you are, where you're going, where you're at. It's like London, CCTV. They've got the facial recognition, all of that stuff. You are not going in the Capitol building unless they invite you. There was no
shit.
That literally did not happen at all.
At all. No.
But they switched sides, right? So now, and this is why you just stay calm and watch. And you're watching, okay, the BLM protest, they're putting bricks out there. Why are they putting bricks out there? Because they know when we get together and things takes over, things happen. And if things don't happen, you put somebody in the crowd to make it happen. So now they switch team, which is why I try. Right back to the title, principle based, right? I stay in the principle, which is, to me, when someone protests, it's always a good thing because they got to a boiling point where it was worth them taking time out their day to buy some plane tickets, bus tickets, gas tickets, to go somewhere and say, y'all, I have something that I have to say. I don't have a platform. I can't do a live stream. I don't have a microphone, but I need my neighbors and my family, my countrymen in the world to hear what I have to say. And we all should be listening, no matter who that is and no matter what they want to say. And so I was okay with the BLM protest. I'm okay with the Antifa. I tell you, I went to a Ku Klux Klan protest before. It was fun. Because I lied and I had to take it back because a long time ago I said, you know what? I've never been to a Ku Klux Klan protest because I'm not like Daryl Davis, whatever his name is. I lied. I actually went to one because when I used to work in this place called King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, there was a park. Valley Forge Park, and the Ku Klux Klan every year would go have their little protests out there, hand out some pamphlets or something, sing or do whatever. I actually went to one once because I was just curious. I wanted to know like what was going to happen, and nothing. They were standing out there talking to people, handing out some flyers and stuff like that. But the point is that violence is one thing. Speaking is another, right? To me, there's no such thing as hate speech. There's no such thing as violent speech. All speech is just speech. And we are either doing things to correct the animosity and the gripe that is from within that speech so it doesn't become violent, or we're doing something stupid like banning it, blocking it, or chastising it. And so it becomes violent. And what I see right now is I just see like the tables flipped, and now they're having protests. Agent provocateurs, the state using it to try to create martial law and all this other crap. People who believe this nonsense because they watch the news, and we're going to end up in a really bad space if we don't take a step back, breathe, and accept the principle that the government loves power. It will always use every event to increase its power. Corporations love money. They're always going to use anything to increase more money. And it's not like conspiracy. That's just economics and how our system works. But you're right. They switch places. It's weird.
Yeah.
I know. They're so easily manipulated.
People, obviously.
That like, thank God I didn't meet them in my darker period because I would have had all their stuff.
Yeah.
Because they fall for anything.
Yes. But then the children, like the younger generation, is so much more vulnerable than when you're older, you get wiser. Anyhow, you're supposed to get wiser, but nowadays we don't know yet. But for the younger people, I really feel like, oh my God, they're such
Yeah.
They're in
Well,
a really
from just my little world, because apparently my son, who's 14, is extremely woke. He just doesn't act like he is, and I hate that word woke, but that's how he describes it, But yeah, because so apparently, I don't know, I was at work, I forget which day it was, and so he starts my phone's going off and off and off, so I'm like, I have to check it, and it's him, and he was in class online, and it was all about how there was a riot at the Capitol, and Trump started it, and somebody died, right? And he's like, and he's texting me, and he's like, Mom, I can't stand this. I'm more woke than the teachers. He's like, I can't believe that this is happening. It's all distraction. How can they not see this? This is a 14-year-old, okay?
Yeah. Wow.
And then he's like, and I'm like, well, tell them how, like, your opinion. And he's like, and this is what's so messed up. By the way, I might curse a lot if we keep talking about this stuff. So, but he's like, no, because he's afraid to be the only one standing out because everybody else is falling for the narrative. Now, that's our school system. That's who we are trusting to teach our children.
That's bully,
that they're, one, teaching propaganda blatantly now, and two, there's children are scared to reveal their thoughts. And
but that's always been
China, communism, North Korea, whatever you want to call it. This is some crazy shit.
But that's always been the children who have really thinking about outside the box. They always are bullied. Not even now, but before also. I can remember that from my school too. To really think, people who think for themselves or children, they have a really difficult time. They always had.
But it was funny, right? Because I was like, I said to him, well, when I got in work, I get in work at 5 a.m. on January 6th. And I was like, hey, y'all ready for the false flag? It's going to happen today. And it did. And it did. I knew it was coming. And I told my son that. And he was like, what, Mom, real? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to have to listen to you more. And I was like, yeah, no shit. More. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I try to tell my kids. Well, I don't try to tell them. I try to stay out of it. Stay out of it.
Stay out of it.
Right.
But I've been doing this for a while. Like, I send my kids to school and like, all right, you're getting on the bus, Dad. All right, go on. Now I know that they just gonna teach you bullshit. But go on to school, get your grades, your tests, learn the bolded points and the big words, and answer the test how they want you to. But accept the fact that it's mostly bullshit. We really don't know history. Science is actually banned in the public domain from the moment we militarized it. And the teachers are just like your father. But they went to school with me, and maybe they had a grade higher than me or a grade lower. You think for yourself, but stay out of it. And my son in college, I tell him, I said, you see a protest, go the other way. And he's like, Dad, I know. He's like, Dad, your job is to go to school, right? See, and this is another thing that kind of really irritates me, but I try to stay in my own space, which is, I've got to stop pressing comments for a second, which is using children to resolve the problem of adults. It really is a burr in my side. And this is something that I work with.
Sick.
To keep
it's really sick.
That's like Gestapo Jugend, the Jugend of Gestapo. They were educated, the young children, I think from 12 years old, become soldier for the country. That's Gestapo Jugend. And they were allowed, And then later on, I saw they really said we were totally messed up. Later on, they woke up and then realized what really happened. So they're totally mesmerized by the system, and that's what government.
It's a cult. It's literally a cult. Yeah, it is.
Literally.
If you're not questioning your leader, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
The kids need to stay out of it, right? Like and if you're a young person, like what I'm saying, if you're listening to this, these aren't your problems. Right? You didn't create this. When we were kids, we were having fun. I know I was. I was out drinking and dancing and partying, having fun. You have no business protesting things that your parents voted for. You have no business protesting or worrying about things that your parents all consent to. You go live your life, have fun, learn, educate yourself, explore this world. Do not get involved with the bullshizzle that we need to fix. We did this.
Yeah, true.
You didn't do this. Don't get a police and this is a critique. And of course, once again, people aren't gonna like it. I tell my brothers this all the time. Nobody's hurt more black kids this year than Black Lives Matter. Nobody's giving more black kids records this year more than Black Lives Matter. No one's putting, well, maybe Jive and Bowden might have put more black kids in prison with crime bill than Black Lives Matter. But the point is that children need to go live their lives. This is not a space for them. They need to go live their lives and let their ignorant, arrogant parents fix the problems that they cause, right? And that is my critique. Black Lives Matter, like all the other groups, are full of people who all mean well, who want to do good, but they get lost in the fogs of war and the drama, right? If you actually care about children, you let children be children, and you let the adults deal with their own problems and stop passing the adults' generation's problems down to the next generation. They're going to have their own problems. So I agree with you, John. It's sick, and it's a mental illness that you use children to solve your own problems, not your own damn self. If you want to fight with police, then you get out there and fight with police. But they're not doing that. They're sitting there little fat butt spread, butts back on chairs, watching Netflix. And you know, butt spread is a comorbidity with cuckoo virus, right? You know, that's
what could be more cowardly than to hide behind children?
Yeah.
Extremely.
They're making a whole bunch of money, writing books, getting careers, making a whole bunch of money at the top while they send children out in the street to fight with armed, trained men.
It's like that, and it's emotional. I mean, they play your emotion. If they use young children like Greta, they used Greta too, and everybody is saying, the user.
And she's being ridiculed. And this is why I stepped back. Like, you know, we had some jokes at first, and I was a part of it. I'm not gonna say I said some things I regret. I was a part of it. It was funny, some memes and stuff. But I stepped back at one point and I did a video and I said, you know what? I'm gonna leave her. I'm gonna leave her alone. I'm gonna leave her alone. One, because she's a young person. She's been indoctrinated. These aren't her problems. They're abusing her on one side, and we're abusing her on another side, making jokes about it. You know, we need to educate children like that and pull them out of adults' ignorance and send her, you know, geoengineering.org. You know, but then again, if Greta talks about geoengineering.org with the platform she has now, they'll put her with Martin Luther King and JFK and all the rest of them. You know. And that's just real talk. You know, we have to look at and I'm glad that you said that, Susan, because that makes, Christine, we have to always step back and look at ourselves. And that's the only thing I like about live streaming, and probably the only reason why people show up. Is because when I say something stupid, I'm going to say, damn it, that was stupid. Why the hell did I do that? Like, I shouldn't have posted that. Why did I post that? We have to self-examine. That's the only way we get our integrity back.
Well, that's like with all this stuff, right? Because, it feeds your monkey brain. It's exciting, right? Like, it's like, oh God, the empire is falling. You know what I mean? And so I'm making it a point, like I have to stay off this matrix machine, right? Because these make us cyborgs. I don't care what anybody says. And this is the beginning of transhumanism, your phone.
Yeah.
And
true.
Yeah, it is.
But then like all this happens and I'm like on it for hours because I'm like, this is exciting. It's exciting your lower primal instincts, and it's all by design. It is all on purpose to keep you here.
Right.
And we're doing it right now. I feel.
Are we going to control this, or is it going to control us?
Yeah, exactly.
Bottom line, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's when they create all these things, it makes you want to like be a part of it and get involved and express your opinion too. And it's like, does my opinion matter on any of this? Because it's not going to change anyone's mind who really believes it, and it's not going to. You know what I mean? Like I know that this is not the way. Like, so why do I keep beating it? Why do I keep doing it? You know?
Yeah.
Because
the only one that can go crazy.
But explain. But explain what is the monkey brain, right? And the way I heard explained best is it has to do with monkeys, right? Like a monkey is never content. There's always something to do. Like they jump from this branch to this branch, grabbing bananas, finger in the butt, sniff, whatever. Find out what food is. They do that. Blows my mind. You know that they do. If you ever see a monkey, don't ever shake his hand. right? Because they actually do that. Because it's how they know what you ate for lunch, and they want to go find where that lunch is at. And I don't know if they do that, but I add a little sugar to stuff. But the point is that that's the monkey brain. It's never content. It's always got to jump around, do something. And that's how I was yesterday.
That's
with,
human,
and I think that's part of the reason why they use that, they used poop on the wall tactics, because it's that monkey brain mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did a watch party yesterday, which was crazy. Is Elaine here? Damn it. I did a watch party yesterday because we had, what is that thing where you come up with the idea and someone else does it and confirms it? It's a synergy. What is that called?
Synchronicity.
Yeah.
That happened yesterday. So I was minding my own damn business, and then I got a pop-up. It wasn't a pop-up, it was a list of videos, and it had Aaron. What is Aaron's last name?
Yeah, Aaron.
Aaron Russo?
Aaron
Russo.
His video came up. I said, you know what? I had to watch this, and I started watching it. And then not 5 minutes or 22 minutes later, I saw it, which is crazy. I'm giving you an exact time, but Elaine was watching it. So she posted it. I'm like, oh my God, like Elaine posted it. I'm watching it. Like, there's no deal. I've got to repost this. Like, because I forgot half of what Aaron Russo said anyway.
Yeah.
And I've seen this video, I don't know how many times. And so I reposted it. But it was interesting to hear what you just said, Susan, because when he was talking about how he knew when the world was corrupt. He was like in his 20s, and he created this little, he created a club, right? He had this club, and I forgot where he was. But one night the police came in, and when the police came in, they brought the fire department, and the fire department just started dumping trash all over the floor. The police, arrested him, accosted him, grabbed his, all his coworkers, whatever, dragged them all out, put them in the car. And like, as they put him in the car, I think they did something like they squeezed his testicles or something, shoved him in, and like, he was in such agony. And he was trying to figure out, like, what's going on? I'm an American citizen. Like, this isn't America. We're like, what's going on? Why are they putting trash all over the floor? And anybody who hasn't watched his interview, you need to.
It's very good.
And he said, well, why are they putting trash all over the floor? He said, but the news came out the very next day. And he said, well, the police went in and arrested, this illegal gathering, blah, 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 blah. There were hippies. And when they came in, there was trash everywhere. Yeah. They started fighting with the police, and the police had to arrest them. And that's when he said he started to realize that things aren't what they appear to be. And so, Susan, what you said is exactly what he talked about, which is they do this. When we were kids in the Washington, D.C. area, where I grew up, it was known that the police, when you got in trouble, whether or not they beat you up or whatever happened, they would take a little bit of crack and they would sprinkle crack on you, which was hilarious because I think it was Dave Chappelle. He did a skit, and people laugh about it, and it's funny. And he grew up in Washington, D.C., but we all knew it as kids. We knew if you get in trouble, and which, by the way, if anybody wants to know, most of the police in our neighborhoods back then, they were black. They weren't white, and they used to beat the hell out of us. So you can chew on that if you want to. But they would make it seem like it was drug related, right? And so what you said fits with what he said, which this is all a false reality. And they're always using things to gain power, to get out of, things that they've done is wrong. And that's how all this world is. It's all a corrupt, false reality.
Yeah, and it's a very good summary because he brought it really nicely in a short video about all the system. Actually, it was an excellent watch party.
But he predicted it all. Like he goes through central banking, corruption, how this all works with politicians and government. Like he nailed everything. The only place where I thought he missed it, if anyone, somebody post the name of the video, or the name of the interview, or just post the link. Where he missed it is he thought that this was his government. Right. Yeah. And so he got involved with the Constitutional Party, and because you were thinking from within the system that, well, this is our government. At any moment in time, they can take back their power and start working for the citizens again. And so while he predicted all the stuff that we need to know today and what's happening, we need to update it with the new information that this isn't a government. This is a corporation. It doesn't actually matter if Donald Trump, Jive and Bowden, Barack Obama. It doesn't matter who's in it. It is a corporation. It is always going to serve profit. Always going to do what who buys it to do something. It's going to serve that own. And if Aaron Russo knew that, he's dead now, I think.
Yeah.
But if he knew that, you know, he could have been a force to reckon with, and he wouldn't have wasted his time, you know, with trying to get a corporation to act like a government. And this is why I don't vote. It's not a government. Your president is the honorable, what's the president's name? Ulysses S. Grant. That is your president. That's the president of the Republic of the United States. You know, the United States Incorporated is just a corporation, and whenever a billionaire buys it, that's what it'll do. Half the people are scared of Russia, like Russia's coming. If Russia has enough money, it'll do everything Russia wants it to do.
Yeah, true.
You know, China's coming to get it. If China has enough money, it'll do everything that the Chinese billionaires want it to do, and that's just the world we live in. But we're trying to hammer a screw. We're trying to screw a nail. You can't help people with a corporation. You can only help them if you restore your government.
I was going to say something, I forget.
Yeah.
You got to break in. That's how I do. That's how I get down. But I got to thought.
I know. But it's gone.
I forget things too easy. That's the only reason why I do that. If I don't say it's gone.
This wasn't it, but Vikings and so they were upset, right? Ragnar died and they want to kill the king. And Bjorn said something great. He was like, we all know those feelings, but sometimes you have to think through your feelings and do what's best.
And who said that? Who said that?
Bjorn Ironside on Vikings.
Okay, Vikings. Yeah, Vikings. Yes, we are Vikings.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah. How true is that?
He was one of the wisest ones.
Yeah.
Except for with women. He didn't do too good. But other than that, he was pretty wise.
Yeah. That's where we are. We're all acting on feelings and not thinking.
Yeah, but it's true. But you should recognize the feelings, but not act by them.
Right.
That's very important. Otherwise, it's suppression. And when they're suppressed, they come out anyhow, unsuspected and more violent. So the anger we feel and for injustice, it's there. But we have to just channelize it constructive.
Yeah.
And it's also, again, yeah, it's like we have to stay centered. If we go in the outside ourselves, then we get caught up. Whatever reality it is, we have to be centered. And that's what all those wisdom, the ancient wisdom tells, stay centered. They're like people who are always centered wherever they live, but they stay centered. They don't get involved in the fights outside. And that's how you rise in consciousness. But in the meantime, you have to be an example too.
Yeah. Like I'm awesome when I'm in my center and I'm a psycho when I get involved in the world.
And that is our Scorpio.
I am. These people make me crazy.
Yeah. Or the royalty.
When somebody tries to get me emotional, that's when I tap out. Right? Like for some reason, it's using emotion is how they get you. Right? If you can stay, well, for me, if I can stay centered and logical, I'm pretty solid. Right? If you can, doodle head and get me upset, say something, N-word or whatever, you can get me upset, then I lose my center. Right? But I find I can stay logical and use because this is what people do, right? When you're having a discussion and they don't have anything else, and you hit them with like the Washington D.C. Act of 1871 or Federal Reserve Central Banking or like how the world actually works, and they're upset because they didn't get their politician or whatever, their staff member who's acting like a politician, they get upset and they call you names, right? Because they try to pull you in emotion. That's how you attack intellectually.
The first rule in teaching critical thinking, and this is what I do with my students in my classroom when we get to that chapter. The first rule in teaching critical thinking is to observe how emotions like anger and fear not only cloud, but often destroy your judgment and destroy reason. True. And how knowledge is the complete antidote for fear.
Yeah.
Because all logical fallacies, all attempts to misdirect or corrupt your reason are fear-based. All of them are. And this is we're not teaching this in the schools. No way.
On
No
the
way.
contrary.
Only oddballs and throwbacks like me are still doing it.
Right.
And what they're I think what either Riley or Melissa said earlier in a comment, or I think Susan, and it totally jives with what your son's experience is. Hey, Mom, get a load of what they're telling us in class today.
Right.
That Trump is inciting violence. He is creating riots. That passes nowadays for critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk
Yeah,
about
it's like that.
talk about the complete turning upside down of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
The
better watch out
repeating
for
of
those
what you
Demi
saw on
organs
TV.
because they got I voted.
Yeah. They get a sticker.
Yeah, they get a sticker.
They get a sticker.
Here's my sticker.
Yeah, love
I
is the
know.
antidote for
I know.
Yeah,
Who would think that the craziest, scariest thing on the planet right now would be some like middle-class, middle-aged white guy with an I voted sticker? That's the scariest thing on the planet right now.
No, the scariest thing on the planet is something that has not been isolated, but it only targets people who eat too much sugar, junk food, and got spread.
Yes.
No, the Capitol was big. That's not the scariest thing anymore.
No.
That's the scariest thing
Oh, yeah.
after they inaugurate whoever
true.
they inaugurate.
Then they forget all about the mask because how many people were there? Yeah, it was all, it's like
Yeah,
funny.
no, COVID's gone, but it'll be back after the inauguration.
Oh,
So
definitely.
don't worry,
Oh,
people.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And after 9 o'clock, because we have the evening clock at 9 o'clock, and after 9 o'clock, the virus is very active, it seems to be, because we cannot go out. After 9 o'clock p.m., it's very early,
And
very
it's time zone.
You could write a book this thick on all the contradictions. All the contradictions. It would be this thick.
Yeah. COVID understands time zones better than I do.
That would be a good book. Write a cartoon book about all this, and you will have.
Yeah.
You're in.
Well.
You're in. You're in.
Right.
Yeah, we did it. It's called The Simpsons.
Oh yeah.
Simpsons told us about everything we didn't know. This is crazy.
Verna just asked me. She said, "How do I do this? Thinking about this all day." And I'll say this, so Verna, I actually live my life, and I love funny things. I love hypocrisy.
Yeah.
For 20 years of my life, I've been an analyst, and it was my job to analyze things, right? And so I enjoy life by spotting bull, shizzle, and hypocrisy. And it's fun. It's fun because it's fun. It's funny when somebody is blue and they're talking about blue people. It's funny when somebody is foolish and they're talking about foolish people.
Yeah.
It's funny when the pot calls the kettle black. And so for me, Vern, it's just it's actually common. It's hilarious. Like I sit back and I go with my family and I get them to say things and text me things because it's fun. It's fun. And if you get good at it, Verna, you educate people. And I enjoy it. Like yesterday, I did a video on face panties, and I thought it was fun. It was hilarious. Who did the I forgot her name. Crystal Teeny did a video, and she mentioned face panties, and I thought it was hilarious. I was just like, yeah, that's not gonna work. That ain't gonna work. So I don't think about this stuff all day, Verna. I think about funny stuff, and I analyze situations, and I find hypocrisy and bullshit. And the whole thing, like with me and face panties, it won't work. I call them face diapers because face diapers is demeaning to both men and women because we're big babies and we act like children and we're hypocrites and we don't know what food is.
It's accurate.
But
it's accurate.
Yeah,
it's accurate, right?
And you're
so,
right.
So yesterday, yesterday as an example, it was just funny to me because I was thinking about it. I was like, so if we start calling these face panties, well, I think about these in the negative way that I do when I think of it as a face diaper, and it wasn't resonating.
Yeah.
I don't try to think about it. I just think it's funny. I think
and doing that actually feeds into part of their propaganda bullshit, which is divide masculine and feminine. And you're just a misogynist saying that.
Yeah.
That whole machine that's been in place for decades now to keep this imbalance between the masculine and feminine alive.
And the other thing is, like you said, Gerard, the humor. If you can use humor like you can do, people melt. People, they start laughing and they can
Yeah.
see the stupidity of it.
Mhm.
But you have to be good in it. I mean, I don't succeed in that, but sometimes I do. But it's, you just laugh with it. It's true, and so that they find it by themselves. Actually, that's the key. If they can find a solution about what actually is going on, is actually quite a kind of a lot of bullshism, then they rise above themselves too. So if you can find the key that, like with all your live streams, you try to do, then just try to see what is going on, and with a lot of humor, then people
Yeah.
keep listening.
Like butt spread comorbidity, because it is a comorbidity. You know, I was doing it. I was like, you know what? I've been sitting on my butt for too long. You know, I was in corporate America for a long time. You eat and you sit and it gets wider. And, you know, that's what, if y'all not in America, it's called butt spread. And it's a comorbidity, right? Because it's that sedentary lifestyle. And so I talk about health and nutrition a lot because that's very important. And I think that health and nutrition is probably 90% of what you need to focus on. If you're scared of invisible things that nobody's isolated yet. But there's still an exercise component. And so, you know, every day you should do 15 minutes worth of exercise, something strenuous. You should do something to get your blood pressure going, because when the blood pressure kicks up, it's moving the clotting and the blockage that actually people are dying from this thing, right? The autopsies say that it's clotting in your heart and your lungs. You want to lift your pressure up on a regular basis. And so I was laughing about it because I was like, you know what? Dang it, butt spread is a comorbidity, isn't it? That's a part of this thing. And I was joking about it. But then I did my exercise, but then it leads into a thought of like ancient, like evolving. Like as we were evolving, we didn't have Netflix and Hulu and Disney, right? We didn't sit back and sit on our butt all day. We were, you know, there was something going on all day long. There's a tiger, some monkeys, some wolves, got to feed this, got to do this. The boo-boo fell in the well, we got to go get him, fell off the cliff. Like your blood pressure was always pumping up, and then it would go down, and it would pump up, and it would go down, and it would pump up. And so you're moving, you know, all of this through your vein. And we know this. I feel like I'm teaching to the choir, I'm talking to the choir. But you have fun with it. You know, you got to live your life. And when you see something stupid, say it's stupid and laugh at it, especially if it's you. Because people really love when you do something stupid. And that was me.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
You know, during the whole lockdown, I've never been locked down. I've been outside every day. People tell the government on me every day. I don't really care what the government says. But I haven't been as active as I should be. You know, so I got to work on my comorbidity. So, you know, your butt spread, you working on your butt spread saves me, and me working on my butt spread saves you. That's how we all save grandmama together.
I just wanted to say real quick too that like at work, like I'm like the clown or whatever, but however you want to describe it. But because I feel like if I'm stating facts or at least truths that I believe, whatever they are, I don't know what's going on anymore. But if I state these things and I do it in a funny, joking way, they are more receptible. What is it?
True.
Receiving of it or whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If I'm like,
Receptive, yeah.
If I'm like, no, this is what's right, then I automatically get shut off. But if I'm like, oh yeah, it's crazy, you know what I mean? Then they're like, because now every morning they're like, hey, what's the news, Sue? You know, so you know,
it's true.
It does work better that way.
Yeah, you have to laugh with it. Yeah, that's the thing. Laughter and fun is always better.
Yeah.
Always.
And Lori is right. Yes, Gerard is stuck on Crystal Teeny's and face pants. I am, because it's hilarious. Because as a man, and it just real thought, I say things how they are, and if you like that, fine. You don't like it, put it where you want to put it. But as a man, I look at somebody who's a pretty woman, and she's talking about face panties. And there's about 2 men on the planet that have an issue with that. The rest of the men like, yeah, okay. You know, so it's funny, it's hilarious. We go with it, you know, because when you think of face draws, though, this is where I disagree with you, John. This is it. You say face draws, and a man thinks of his draws and how they smell and look, and just unappealing in every single way. It's not even a nice fabric or nothing. Yeah. No, that's demeaning for men. But I don't know if it goes back and forth either way.
Yeah, they're granny panties. I don't know how fast.
But that's so same. Yeah, the granny panties. Yeah.
We're wearing granny panties.
Yeah.
But see, you
They go like here. They come to here, the granny panties, but it's warm.
no,
They're comfortable.
See, we think of those as draws. I think I don't know. Jonathan, help me out. Like when you hear the word panty,
Yeah, we
you're
call them
thinking like that's
granny
happy time.
panties.
Yeah.
When you hear
What's
that word, it's happy time. When you hear that word, it's
Yeah,
like yes,
lingerie.
this is why we get up in
It
the
sounds
morning,
sexy,
You know?
right? Lingerie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lingerie,
This is why we
yeah.
get a job.
You see,
Yes, this
now I
Yeah.
see a whole laundry
Right.
with all granny panties
Yeah.
and
So it's,
the long
you know.
underwear from men.
Yeah.
But a diaper is a disgusting, smelly thing.
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
For
And it's
everybody.
perfect for
That causes
everyone.
rashes.
And children wear it. And we're talking about psychologically immature,
Yeah.
infantile
Oh my God.
people.
Hey, I have to tell a story. I had a wedding Friday. It was very nice, very cozy. So we went to the mayor's house, and she did it actually very nice. And she didn't like we could have put off the face diapers when we were sitting down. But before, I didn't put my face diaper on, and there was a little child, and she only laughed at me. I was laughing with the little child like a baby. And then she was looking at me. Everybody had face diaper on because we were waiting outside and just outside the door. And the only, like the baby could recognize, oh, I see a face, I see a face. And I asked the mommy, put off your face diaper because you see your child is happy when you put it off. I know, she said. And I think the baby was born in April. Just say she never knew something else. Say it's not good. You have to put it off. But see the children, such a small baby, they react to it. So I was laughing with the child, and the child wanted to come to me, only to me, because I didn't have to see how deep it goes.
Yes. That's what I said. We were psychologically traumatizing our children right now on a collective scale.
Yep.
An entire generation.
Mhm.
And we're like not doing anything about it really. It really
Yeah. That was like, my God, that touched
you
me so
humans are
deeply.
killing me. You don't
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
You're mentally
Collectively-
breaking me.
Collectively, we're not doing anything about it, but most of us are plotting our escape. And what you said, Susan, like that's the main thing for me is my kids. Right? Like I'm fine to deal with the ignorance. Like if I wouldn't be packing up my life, shutting down everything, cleaning up and getting ready to get the hell out of the state if I didn't have kids. I don't want my kids to live around ignorant, weak people.
Yeah.
And that's where it ends for me. Like to me, and of course my voice just changed. I like to keep things light. When you hurt my kids, I need to leave or you need to prepare to die. Like that really is the only way that works for me. So you've stolen a whole year of my kid's life. Your schooling, friends, playing, weddings, family gatherings. No cuckoo virus didn't do that. You did. You did this, right? You destroyed the economy. You made things worse for them. These kids went to school to get jobs, to have lives. They can't even do that. You did this. And so I know, for me, it means that I have to leave. It means I have to take everything and go somewhere where there are grown, educated, scientific people who know how to respect each other and live amongst one another. Because when I really think about how we psychologically damaged all of these children because a few corporations want to sell a product.
Children and the elderly. They have suffered more than anyone else during this bullshit.
Yeah, while saying it's about saving grandma. And the worst part, like I still like if everything was destroyed right now, our elders are our memory. Our elders are our living history.
Yes.
They experience what happened. They teach us. That's how wisdom gets passed down. And you're destroy a whole generation of our memory. Like that's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We destroyed it. And don't get me wrong, it should be. And I'm glad the world was destroyed. Why? Because the old psychopathic, old normal needs to burn. And the only way that we can create something new is you got to burn the old. So the new normal, I have no interest with. Like to me, I think it's great that our society is splitting. right? You have the people who are going the synthetic route, but they think they can beat nature and eat Twinkies for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
And there are people who want to just live naturally and go back to trading with each other and building and creating. And it's a good thing. We need to do this so we can sit back and the next generation can look and see how sickly and ill they are, how sterilized they've become, you know, all the other problems that they're having, you know, trying to think that they can beat nature with laboratories and synthetic crap as opposed to eating food and evolving with the ecosystem, how the human race has always done, looking in our own mirror at our problems, not looking at Susan's mirror, like, because that's what this whole face diaper thing is about.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, it's about me saying, oh, well, my problems are you, so you have to do something for me. Your diaper protects me. It's like, no, your crap protects you. You know, and so, you know, I think this was necessary, you know, but I'm going to speak about it in the way that I feel it should be spoken about, which is this is evil, right? These
really
people
It is.
are people. Like human beings, I don't think are capable of this. I think you have millions of people, if not billions, right now who are channeling some of the worst evil consciousness, the darkest consciousness that's ever existed, where you're willing to abuse other people because you don't want to look in your own diet mirror. You're willing to abuse people because you won't stop taking the drugs that you know that you say keep you alive because you don't want to change your diet. You're willing to blame other people because you don't want to deal with your butt spread. You know, listen, here's the thing. There's no shortcuts to nature. If you think you can cheat nature, you're just waiting to die. And so society separates into two different directions. You got Bill Gates and Fauci marching people that way, and you got like natural science and evolution marching this way. These people are going to disappear. They're not going to make it.
No. Yeah, and it's true. All kids in the whole world are suffering. It's like on a scale that never happened before.
No.
Yeah.
And you know how history is going to record this? They're going to do the same thing they did with polio, right? Polio was actually solving itself. The human immune system was dealing with it. We were washing hands and hygiene. We were cleaning things. But, you know, when you look back at history, they deleted history then like they'll do now. And they said, oh, the pharmaceutical industry saved us from polio. Thank God. Right. And that like walked into this time of taking a synthetic drug. And it's the only thing. It's the only product in the United States that I know of that you can't even sue the company for, right? Because they convince people that, oh, well, we saved the human race from polio. In reality, that's not what happened. They actually gave a lot of people polio. It caused a lot of problems. HIV suspiciously came out of Africa in a town that they were using a certain monkey that had simian immune deficiency. Right? But they created this world now where they got this one product and these corporations that sell it and they own both political parties, you know, certainly in our country, and they have more influence around the world. You know, they can actually. So, but that's what they're going to do with this. If you know, if we don't actually create the new world this cycle and we just go into another dark arena for another couple thousand years till we get another chance to actually fix the world systems, they're going to look back on this day, this year, and they're going to say, this is when the pharmaceutical industry saved the whole human race. Everyone almost died from the virus. And thank God they saved us. We got to give them more power. We got to remove more of their regulation, take down more of their testing. You know, and the example that I talk about now, people like the only reason airplanes aren't falling out of the sky is regulate the hell out of them. The only reason cars aren't lighting on fire because if
they do manage to get complete control over the human genome, it's over. I mean, there is no second chance 2,000, 10,000, 30,000 years down the line. It's done.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yep.
And if that's the case, then the asteroid is going to come in.
That might be the third great ending that ends everything, because like I said, the human spirit is kind of inevitable. It is the universe, right? So if you can change all humans into something else, then there is no more human spirit.
The collective decision of the human race would be saying to the universe, no, we're no longer going to evolve. We're going to stay right where we're at.
Right.
Oh, really? Then the universe replies, oh, really? Yeah. Okay. Boom. That's not what your purpose is.
Right.
That is not what your purpose is.
But they
No,
will be
that's not
thrown
what we
out of.
created.
Mhm.
Sorry.
Right.
They will be thrown out of evolution. That's what the scripture says. If you're not evolving, you will be thrown out of evolution. You will never get.
Right.
You don't get a chance anymore. You're
Yeah.
not getting a chance to reincarnate. You're not. You're just being thrown out. You will be destroyed. And I think, yeah, and my guru says, yeah, if the deities are done with it, they will totally destroy. They will destroy they will destroy all humanity. They will. They will.
Well, the
Elaine just
Hashtag
asked,
we're all gonna die.
Solon was told by the Egyptians that the Earth had reset 12 times. That certainly is in the Vedas, in Hinduism,
Yeah.
big time. That
It's true.
these humongous epics,
Yeah.
epochs, 432,000 years, have happened again and again and again and again.
Yeah. But
So if you don't want to evolve, okay, you will be recycled.
Elaine just
Only
asked,
your
where am I
chance.
going? Elaine asked, where am I going? Like, where can you go? It's everywhere. And I get that question a lot. I'll be honest and I'll say, I don't know if you guys know where you're going. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know yet. I mean, I have some thoughts and ideas. I feel I have an obligation, number one, to use some of my skills to help people who I can. And I think that, migrating is also a human, it's within human history.
Yes,
When you can't stay where you are,
yeah, the
and you
migration.
can't live, you say tigers are moving into the area. We've got little children. Say wolves are moving into the area. There are times in human history where you have to migrate. And the tiger and wolf in this scenario is a 0.01% that owns government. Right. And so where I'm at, I can't even take my kids to the movies.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my son had a saying to me, and he jokes, and they have a lot of fun with it, which is why I'm calm as I am, because it's affecting them, but I see they're laughing through it because, like Susan, like your kids, they see how ignorant the adults around them are. My kids even call their family on their ignorance on statistics and math. But he said, it's like we go to the movie tavern around here. I think Marcus owns a movie tavern. He made a point. He said, Dad, I want to give Marcus my money. Marcus has movies. I'm going to give Marcus my money and go see the movie. That's a contract between Marcus and government has nothing to do with that. And that's what the Constitution is about.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the Bill of Rights is about. If you have something you want to sell and I want to give you something to buy that, government has no say in any of that. And so for me, wolves are moving into the area. They're telling me that I can't take my kids to the movies. They're telling me, when and how long or whatever I can take them to the park. They're telling me how many of their friends I can invite over to have a birthday party or something like that. Then it means either I stay here and I fight, or I take my skill set and I go somewhere else and I build, something else. And so to me, it's a migration, right? There's running. And then there is accepting reality, which is the wolves who are moving into this area have decided that they want to eat our lifestyle. They want to eat us. They want to eat our freedom. And so, but, for me, I don't think there's any one place I'm thinking about. If anything, I'm thinking about how do we create communities where people who want to live together, eat together, fellowship, outside of the infrastructure that requires you obey massive corporations and global governance, right? And could they come there? Oh yeah, they could. They absolutely could. Wherever there is, I think I might be in different places. I know that we have a lot of friends who are building a lot of different communities in different places. So I might jump around and help different people, different groups the best as I can. But when you're being told you're not welcome, I think you have to respond to that, especially if you're a parent. And where I live in Pennsylvania, and Elaine definitely knows this, we're not welcome. Her son opened a vegan restaurant, which is awesome, gangster vegan, right? And so we are kind of trapped in these areas, but they don't want that here. They don't want us here. And at a certain point in time, we have to go. And if there's going to be a reckoning, and that happens to, I'm a peaceful person. I don't believe in violence in any way, shape, or form. But if you bring me violence,
You're going to be met with violence. I'm sorry.
Jonathan,
Yeah, you have no other choice. You have no other choice.
he's got me beat in the hippie community. Unfortunately, I grew up in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm still struggling with some things. But if you bring my house violence,
Mm-hmm.
I know that we're being watched, so I won't say what I want to say. I'll simply
You don't
say
need to say it. We understand.
Yeah, I'm not going to say
Yeah.
it. I'll just stop there. But if anything, if bad things happen, you want to be around good people.
Yeah, true.
And bad things happen. You want to be around your family.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
and I'm not talking about blood. I'm talking about family,
Yes.
right? Soul family. You want to be around people who resonate where you do.
Yes.
I can tell you right now, there are not people around here who resonate the way that I do. But there are some, which is creepy. I don't know if y'all are noticing this. I'm running into a lot of people locally who are like minds. And I use that face diaper word, which is why I use it all the time, because it starts conversations and we all laugh about it. And 90% of every conversation I have is a good conversation after we talk about face diapers and diet. It's a strategy for me. I could abuse people and say mean things, but I find if I break the ice and we talk about diet, living healthier, the government's been poisoning you by subsidizing all the things that killed all these people. We need to make some changes. Everybody agrees with that. But every now and then I'll meet someone like, oh yeah, what are we going to do when if they try to force it? And that leads into discussion. They're not going to try to force it initially. They're just going to make you and your children very, very uncomfortable. They might even throw you in jail before they force it. But then there's I tell them, I say, well, you got to go. Same thing I say to you guys every day. It's just, you got to make your choice. Eric July, I told everybody, watch that video because the man knows what he's talking about. He said, hey, if I have to have something injected in me to live around you, then I'm just waiting to go to jail. And that's fine. That's his choice. He can stay there and be willing to go to jail. I don't have an interest in that. I'm just going to go somewhere else and live my culture in a supposed free country, which is a contract that I signed. Right? I signed a contract to the Republic of the United States. I didn't sign a contract to the United States. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap that up. So Jonathan, going with your point is I'm gonna be peaceful. If I stay here, I know peace is not a choice. They've removed all the other options. I'm gonna go somewhere else where they're not gonna do something in the next couple of months that's gonna require me to be violent. John Bowden won the election, which to me doesn't really matter because they already had things planned. They got the Congress and the Senate. They're all on this narrative. Most people are scared. The inertia of the avalanche is what
Big Pharma won the election.
They're gonna Big Pharma won the election. You will have a month-long lockdown, as he said we're gonna do a national month-long lockdown. When that happens, I'm gonna be in a place around people and under a governor. And again, this isn't about Democrats and Republicans at this point, because the few Republicans who I think were holding out, they're either going to lose their jobs or take the money. This abuse is coming. There's nothing's going to stop it. So you got to find a state where there's a governor that believes in letting you live the way that you want to live.
Or in a state where the population is going to actually do something.
Yeah.
That will happen too, I'm quite sure. I mean, people, they cannot keep on feding up with all those rules. I mean, no one with common sense can keep it like this, I believe. But
are you guys staying put, or are you guys thinking about escaping your areas?
Oh, I wanted to say real quick too, because you mentioned the new normal, but we had no old normal either. And it was only normal because we accepted it as normal. Like my normal is very different than most other people's normal.
Really, it's
really just a term.
It's replacing the old toxicity with the new toxicity.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's only normal if you accept it as normal.
For the asteroid too, Elaine said, but like somebody else said earlier in the 45-minute earlier conversation, the universe is running out of asteroids. At what point in time are we going to get our act together? Like at some point in time, the universe, look, I don't have another asteroid to get rid of the monkeys on Earth. maybe we just need to send a pulsar and like just get rid of the whole solar system and start all over. But the universe is running out of resets for us because we can't seem to get our act together.
Oh yeah, how do we know that hasn't already happened? That's Christ said something like we dream. Actually, we are living actually in a dream state, and then later on it becomes reality. Yeah. Could be.
And my imagination isn't this sick and twisted. So if
No.
I would have created something way better than this shit.
Yeah, but we have to neutralize what we have already thought, but might happen because it's also in our mind. So
none of this
have
makes
to
any
delete
sense
it.
to me. My brain would have been like, no, this don't make sense. Let's make unicorns.
In my worst nightmare, I never would have thought I saw a time where people were this foolishly ignorant, giving the most dangerous people and corporations on this planet this much power. I never would have believed it. If you told me that this was going to happen last year, I'd have been like, y'all are crazy. There's no way people globally are going to bow down to a few people who are allowed on the microphone. I would never believe it.
That is for me still a miracle. How can that happen? That in all nations they bow for those pharmacy. I have no idea how that happened. That must be black magic. I can have no. I have no other.
Black magic.
I have no other explanation. It cannot.
No, because you know what? I don't care how whatever. But the Mayans calendar was on an 8-year cycle, right? And it had something to do with the north nodes and how they flip every 8 years. So like 8 years ago, the south node was in Gemini and the north node was in Sag, and now it's flipped. The north node is right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's also something to do with the Venus retrograde. And that's how the Mayans came up with the every 8-year cycle, right? And so the Patriot Act came out. 8 years later, the NDAA Act came out. And now 8 years later, they're talking about finally using it on us. Do you think that's all coincidence? It just all happened in an 8-year cycle? Like, no way. It's all black magic. And they just know more shit than we do.
Yeah, they use that. They know. That's like all those, like in those magicians, actually, like in the Lord of the Rings. Like, actually, when they get too much power, it works. They work against. Because actually, in the beginning, the Sauron, he was actually a good magician.
Good guy.
He was a good guy, and then he turned around. But then the people, the fellowship, there were very few. But they saved. I mean, I think they saved actually the whole thing. So I don't think we need all cooperation, but like 30% of the people, I think, might be enough. But you don't know, because with this the technique they have, they can destroy within 1 second whole the planet if they want to. I mean, just all those things we don't know. And also they abolished Tesla, the sites of Tesla.
Yeah.
All the wisdom, not anymore.
Can't talk about, So that's the other thing. Like, so Trump was inciting riots, right? So he got banned. Right? But Tesla is dead. And you just talk about, what he was working on 100 years ago, and that got banned. So in my opinion, that validates Trump even more. You know what I mean? Not to the blind, but
I have to agree with you. This is a bad idea. This is a very bad idea, because y'all are making Donald Trump look
a hero.
Very, very good.
A hero.
And that's the scary part. That is the danger. Donald,
that's
so
always what happens if you make a martyr.
Guy, and
stupid. But he is stupid. Yeah.
How many millions of people actually did vote for him? That's another thing.
Well,
they obviously, binary thinking works both ways. It works on the left and the right.
Yeah,
definitely does.
I can't help but just picturing myself as a 7-year-old girl in Yemen, which is probably a bad idea that I said that if Harsh is around, because the FaceApp war is still hot right now. A 7-year-old girl in Yemen listening to Americans talk about how they blocked their president because he was inciting a riot in which a few people got some broken fingernails and one person died. And all they see are bombs dropping all around them. All they see are their friends starving to death. All they are seeing is infants being starved by the United States Incorporated and Saudi Arabia and all the rest of it. It's insanity to me to think that the world is looking at the ignorance that's coming out of people's mouths and you're thinking that those are the adults that are in the country that are supposed to be leading the world. It's crazy to me. That's why I laugh, Susan, when you say that. It's like, Trump is inciting the most violent government in the world. The world, a government that ensures nobody is safe anywhere on this planet, which is not a government, it's a corporation. And they're actually got the audacity to try to judge someone and say somebody else is being violent. This is insanity.
Yeah, well, that's like we relate freedom to blowing shit up. Like, how does that go in the same mindset?
And even if you tell it, like, why do you think he is so, like all those wars and so then even you cannot get them, it doesn't get in their mind. I cannot I cannot tell it like that, but it doesn't get in their mind.
We invaded their country, bombed it, and enacted new laws for freedom because they needed freedom. Like, I don't understand how you're not getting that. Like, my magic hands ain't working lately. Getting the vibe.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah. And then how many people dropped from Twitter? A lot, I think. Some millions people got off. So it's good.
That's good. And I love how they call it the purge. That's not psychologically traumatizing. Our words are so screwed up. It's so crazy.
Anyhow, but we live in the matrix, and then some people live more in the matrix, and it's like matrix and matrix and matrix. Wow, I want to look how it's really outside of the matrix. But that's when we are telepathic. I think when we rise that above that awareness that we can communicate telepathic, then I think we are good. I mean, because then it can only be done on a high level.
When Gerard was talking about how we we might have to start building our own servers and stuff. In my head, I was like, telepathy would be so much easier to learn. It really would for me, anyway.
True.
Right.
Yeah, true.
You know, so the funny thing about that too, though, is we do telepathy, right? Like,
actually,
we call it different things, like biophotons, right? And this is one example. I was thinking about this the other day in terms of, well, there's two different thoughts, which I'll try to do the tiny one later. So hard. So biophotons, right? Every cell in your body emits 1,000 pulses of light every second. So your body, all the cells in your body are in constant contact, communicating with each other in a lot of different ways, not just exosomes and things that you release to share viruses and pathogens with people, but lights. So I don't know how that translates through the screen, but when you meet somebody in person, their whole face is flashing. Like, you ever get a feeling when you meet someone, it's like it doesn't feel right, something isn't good, that's your brain picking up on that in this conversation that's happening. So our bodies are always talking to each other. It's just our brains don't pick up on it. And the other thing I want to say real quick was meditation in blindness. Is there a link? You know how, like, when you lose eyesight, your body compensates by picking up on some of the other senses. Like, the Egyptians talk about that the human being has 200 senses, but, by default, we're only using 7 or 8 because of the, I guess, the society that we live in or whatever. So they probably had the same issues back then that we have now, people living in little isolated boxes. But when you lose your eyesight or you lose your hearing, you have to tap into other senses more. Like echolocating, like some people like to go through, like New York City, and they're tapping their cane, and they found out scientifically that they're echolocating. Y'all think that, how when you meditate to kind of shut the bullshizzle out and tune into other senses, it's not just your third eye or is your third eye with other senses, but I think when people lose their sight, they're probably, or even brain damage, right? They will, as a handicap, lean on some of the other senses that we don't use because we have all the senses that created this. But I think that blind people might find it easier to tap into their third eye and other senses because they're not confused by the things we are. They don't have televisions that they watch.
That's that Bulgarian lady who predicted like everything almost, who got struck by lightning. And it was interesting by lightning because Tesla uses lightning to get high vibrations. He uses that energy. So that lady got struck by lightning and she got blind, but their other senses were totally open. So she predicted almost everything from from what's happening from till till a long time after this.
I appreciate what Tony said, which is important that people pick up on that, because you'll have the flying monkeys like, oh, he must like Trump. And it has nothing to do with Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with Obama. It has nothing. And this once again, the title of this live stream is based in principles, right? It is about a principle. Do you have the right to abuse people? The whole Trump thing, to me, I see these are all as fogs of war. And if you get people focused on the side effect and the fog, then they won't really see what's coming. Right? This is about whether or not humans are sovereign or corporations are, or to take even to a root level, whether or not human beings, whatever we are sovereign, or whether they're slaves. That's what all of this is about. That's what it's always been about. It's always been about control. And so what they do is if they can get you arguing about Donald Trump, or what's happening in this space, not the man behind the curtain, the wizard, that's actually doing things, then they can steal every single right you have. They can steal your children. They can steal your world. They can steal your business. They can steal your job because you're off worried about a side effect that comes through the news. There's no such thing as news. Like I was thinking about this the other day too. People get their reality from the news. What the hell is news? Right? There's a perspective. Somebody went somewhere and they saw something and they came home and they made a broadcast about a perspective. Is the news true? No, it is a version of the truth. There's no such thing as the truth. There's not one person who can go to Yankton and give you a well-rounded perspective as what's happening. So there's no such thing as news. You're not getting the truth. You're not getting reality. You're getting a perspective, and a perspective that's highly tuned by an organization that's a for-profit corporation that needs to sell advertisements for the biggest advertiser on the planet, and that's the pharmaceutical industry and the war industry. So they're not going to tell you anything about Yemen that defies the profit that they need at the end of the day. And this is why if we all split up and go to different planets, the planet I go to there can't be any money. I'm done with this. Like I truly now can see if you can put something, corn, between human beings and their survival, whoever grows the corn, whoever prints the corn, they have a slave plantation. They can do anything to your government. They can do anything to you, and they can roll out whatever reality they want. That's what I kind of think. I think that we're going to get broken up. I think that the aliens are tired of us. I think that they're tired. I don't think they're out of asteroids. They've blown this place up too many times. Maybe they'll just send us all to 7 billion different planets. There are enough of them. And I just want to end up on a planet where
news.
Like-minded.
And news is this is what I mean about black magic and spells, right? Because the news stands for north, east, west, south, right? And so that makes a whatever. Yeah. And
full spectrum dominance.
Magic to be like positive, you start at the east and end at the north. So it's all spell.
Okay.
All things spell casted. In my opinion.
It has to go from the east to the
everything has to start in a
That's
circle.
interesting. Like
and
all the lies they
want to go higher.
That's good,
Yep. And they end with the south, down and bottom. So it's all spell.
Yeah, and they use symbolism anti-clockwise, because whatever you do anti-clockwise is black magic. So whatever you do, you have to go. You have to do clockwise. Very important. That's why Hitler used swastika, and at one point he used it in the wrong way, and he destroyed himself. That's why the war ended. I mean, they didn't destroy the Third Reich because it's still existing, but then the war ended. Because he used it in the wrong way. So it didn't help him anymore because it's a kind of auspicious sign, but then he used it in the wrong way, and he was self-destructive then. Anyhow. But that's what they do. They use symbolism for their own purpose. Wrong. So whatever is sacred, they make it anti.
Right.
So.
Yeah. All the news is fake. All the news is fake. Jeannie just posted something on LinkedIn talking about fake news. It's all fake. All of it.
Yeah.
It always has been, and it always will be, because the news is always going to be from the perspective of the eyes and the brain that take it in. It was something I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said, which 80% of what he says I think is on point, but everybody's controlled opposition, and a lot of what he says gets back to the grounds that he has to take. But he said human beings are bad data taking devices, and we suck at it. We complete our eyes, ears, nose. They're not designed for taking in information and giving it back without a perspective or a cue. So all the news has always been fake news. I think, Jeannie, the only real news that's important is Jeannie news. Right? What you see with your own eyes, your own ears, your perspective, I think that's really all that should matter to Jeannie. It should never, ever, ever be what the 0.01% see, what they hear, and what they want you to buy with the corporations, that industries that they have control of.
Yeah, the swastika came from the dipper.
Yes.
The cycles of, because it's like this way during winter and then this way during spring, and it's
and it's the beginning. It's the beginning from it's a symbol of Ganesha, and then Ganesha is related to the beginning of the earth, and he created auspiciousness. He made the earth sacred according to Adi Shakti, and the swastika was a symbol, and the swastika is also related to Jesus Christ, but because it ends up in Umkara. And Jesus said, "I'm the Alpha and the Omega." So, and
it's a wheel.
Yeah, it's a wheel.
It's a wheel.
And it becomes the Alpha and the Omega. So Jesus Christ and Ganesha are related to each other. So I mean, it's very interesting if you read the Vedas. It's amazing.
Yes.
So, but I have to have in the book I have it how they draw it, and then you can see a likeness. Very nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I know I learned it from the Lincoln Cape, but I don't know if it was like her saying or not. But I love how she says that, like in life, all humans, we hold hands in a circle. We are in a circle, right? Nobody's above anyone else. No one's below anyone else. We're all together, even in the circle. I forget how she says it, but it's great.
I like how I say it. It's a flat earth. It should be a flat earth. No, it should be a flat
and just push
earth.
some off the edge.
It's a flat earth. Nobody should have any power. Nobody should be following anyone. There are no leaders. There's no masters. There's no slaves. There should be no politicians. There should be no CEOs. There should be no supervisors, no managers. The earth needs to be flat. We are all one species of a wave energy creature thing, and if anything has any power over you, it is an abusive setup, and it will always abuse you. Power abuses, and absolute power abuses absolutely. I like what Elaine said a minute ago. I can't say it, but she said, and I did see what Riley said, it hurts more. I disagree, but we're allowed to do that.
And she's right. Not long ago about Trump, about like it's a good thing, censorship.
So, and she's right about Neil, but the question is why, right?
Who's Neil?
Why is he one? And Neil deGrasse Tyson is. It's not because he got the afro and he's got that silly laugh and all that stuff, and he is because of money. How do you take a man or a woman and turn them into just a tool of state, a tool of corporations and billionaires, you got to give them money. You got to give them a means of society. You have to give them a lifestyle that's unsustainable that they can't keep unless they do that thing, which is to be, your female dog, which is what that is. And so you can breed it, you can use it, you can abuse it. No matter how much you kick it, it's going to wag its tail, and that's what does it to it. And this is why money and power have to stop existing. Every time I say it, and it goes back in my mind, which is we have to somehow get to that principle where this is not a good idea to have slavery jobs. You still have people clapping and cheering, we need more jobs. And say, no, we don't.
No,
we
need less jobs.
Work that's important to you. We need less jobs. We need more automation to do the things that we're horrible at, release the human race, have an open source world like Mark was just talking about. And we need less jobs.
And that's the future.
We need more money. We need universal basic income. We need higher salaries. No, we don't. We don't
Money's
need,
not real.
more right. It's not real.
It's not even real.
It's an illusion.
It literally is a shackle that bankers use because they don't want to do any work. Their families don't do any work. They don't have to. What Roe has to do is important to Roe.
Gordon Gekko, I don't create anything. I own.
Yeah.
That's it. That's their whole mentality.
Okay, so I'm going to try to explain this and act this out without proper props. Okay, so bear with me, all right? So it's from American Gods, and he's talking about money, okay? And he's like, so this is a salt shaker, just believe. And this is money, okay? And so he's like, you mine this salt, you bag the salt up. This is your salt from your land, right? Now you're going to trade it for this piece of paper, okay? And this is actually something real. This is actually have value. You can eat it. You can use it for medicine, whatever. Yeah. This is just a piece of paper. But you're still going to switch it for me, right? Because you believe it has value and you believe it has power. And that's the only reason why it exists, because you believe it does.
That's it.
And it's still believe. That's true.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's money.
And now, we will find out.
It's a control feature, right? So if you are the only one who can print money, you have the paper, then it means that you have something of no value that means nothing. And you can get people to go slave for things and give them to you, things of real value, and give them to someone because they were born in that family. They had the most jewels, and they print this stuff. And so this is just, once again,
they have the sources and we have they have the sources and we have the stupid paper.
I
mean,
that's why we are here.
Like the value of at any time.
Right. And so part of off-grid is off-gridding everything. Off-gridding from all the control systems, breaking the shackle, getting rid of the shackle, barter, trade, sell, create things of value and that are resourceful. This is the only reason that in the scriptures, the only time Christ kirked out was when the bankers were in the church. Because Christ saw a time coming where conservatives would hate everything that Christ stood for, right? They would defy everything that Christ stood for. Why? Money, control, power, that they would worship at the altar of Caesar, because now they want what the Caesars have the most of is money. Money is merely debt. It's a means of taking a shackle and strapping it to every baby born on the planet that they have no right to be here unless they go out and find something of value, and bring it back to billionaires and give them the resources so they can give them nothing back in exchange. It's insane. It's a psychopathic system. And so you send your child to school to teach them to go work for 30,000 different slave plantations called corporations, to go create something of value and give it away so they have a right to exist on the planet. It's insane.
Well, that's like when they talk about minimum wage and stuff, right? So most minimum wage jobs aren't for your skills or your value. They're paying you for your time, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like comparing it, like, so if God came down and was like, I can give you $15 an hour or add an hour to your life, which one would you choose? Do you think everybody's going to be like, I want the $15? No, they're going to be like, I want an hour of my life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
But nobody looks at it that way.
No.
Like you're literally selling your life
You are.
for
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah, we're selling.
You're selling your
Yeah.
life force.
Yeah, that's why we are a
Appreciate the way.
commodity. Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
we are a commodity.
I
We are not.
appreciate the way Greg is talking about it, right? And so if you can enslave people by giving them loans and debt,
Yeah.
you can enslave a government
Yeah.
by giving it loans and debt.
27
So
trillion.
this is the John Perkins confession of an economic hitman,
Oh, yeah.
right? It's how the United States Incorporated, and Britain and the rest of them they create massive debts for these third world countries that they can never pay back, and so they become slaves. And this is how they get central banking, and these corporations have so much power to steal all the resources in those lands. And we deal with it here. Our corporation, which is the government, it's not a government, and it's not even a governing corporation. It's just a corporation. It's bankrupt because of 1913 and 1933. So how do you enslave an entire land of people, an entire country, is you force it to live on loans? And part of me thinks that this is why they did the lockdown, to completely break the dollar. And so now we are totally in trillions and trillions and trillions in debt. It guarantees we will be in wars to blow up as far as Orion to pay back, because we're indebted to people who need us to rob other nations. And so, absolutely, that's how you enslave people, and it's how you enslave a government.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, technology should be for us, and we are not for technology. It's we should. Yeah, that's what you're talking about, and what's your dream, Gerard? It's like, and that is actually the future. My guru said it will be that humans can live in peace and prosperity with evolving their consciousness with the help of technology, and not the other way around. But now we become slave of the technology with the transhumanism, and it should be the other part.
Right.
Maybe there's
I'm
just
glad that you brought that up. I'm glad that you brought that up because, so I can shoot. I can shoot well. I'm pretty good with an AK-47. I'm pretty good with a what did my friend keep bringing this other AR-15. Everybody's so scared of it. It's just a little pop gun. But I'm not great. I'm good. So I can stay here and fight, but what's the point? To me, a blow on the system is me to use what I'm good at. Right? I can create automated systems to grow food. Right? I can feed hundreds of kids for free. And I'd rather feed hundreds of kids for free and teach them to critically think for themselves. That is raising an army of critical thinkers that will never need a gun. Right? They're empowered. They realize, wow, so you mean to tell me that this crazy brown dude is just growing food and he's giving it to me so I can live my own life, so I can go be a Nikola Tesla or go be an Einstein or go paint or go draw? Yes, that's my job. Right? It's all of our jobs. Raising children, what it takes a village to raise a child. It is all of our jobs to do things, trade with each other in terms of barter and value, but give things away to the next generation so they'll be freer and freer and freer. So back to technology, what you were saying, Christine, is that, we've been forced to believe in the slave mind that we need to have jobs and we need to work for the kings and lords or we're not worth anything. We're scrubs if we don't do that. And I believe in the absolute opposite philosophy. Right? Our value to the next generation is taking the modern technology that we have access to, not even the secret stuff that they keep from us, and freeing the next generation so they can free the next generation even more, and so they can free the next generation even more. So anyway, that was to go back to that. Whatever you're good at, take that skill and give it away to the next generation. You have to survive today. And a lot of it means, Christine, in this country, it means that you're not going to be what they call successful. Right?
Yeah.
It means you have to give up the SUV. It might mean you have to give up the house. You might actually have to do something. Like back to my brother's
SUV, houses, 401k, they're all just stickers. That's all they are.
But
Very
that's
good.
how
Stickers.
But that's how society values.
I don't have
you.
any stickers.
Virtue.
Yeah. Yeah, me neither.
I'm stickerless.
Yeah, that's the value, and even
Yeah.
the positions you have, the money you have, your
All of it.
possessions,
All of
everything
it.
Yeah,
is your value. And if you don't have
Yeah.
anything of it, you're just like you're
yeah,
nothing. And that's
yeah,
how people treat you too. Because
yes,
what do they ask first?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
yeah. Where do you
Where
work?
are
What do
you?
you
Where
do?
do you work?
Yep.
Where do you
Well,
live?
when we ask someone who, about themselves, what's generally the first thing that comes out of their mouth? Where they work,
Where
what
they
their
work.
job
Yeah.
is. Talk about
No,
mind control.
when
Yeah.
people say, "What do you do?" I'm gonna
What
be
you
like,
do
"I
And
for a
cook
then
living.
chili."
and if you answered all the questions with no, I don't do no,
Mhm.
I don't. Oh, they don't know how to look at. They don't know what to do with you if you don't fit
No,
in any kind of them, in any kind of their
Yeah.
categories. Oh, you're
no,
a weirdo. You're
Yeah.
such a weirdo. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyhow,
Right.
that's what.
I change how I
So,
answer that. When people ask me what I do for a living, I just say I
yeah.
live. That's what I do.
yeah,
Now, what do I do to
Yeah.
make money? I say, oh, I'm a slave. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been saying this for the longest time. That's why I always say, where are you going? I'm going to slavery. What I was going to say real quick is that, and that was the other thing from my, this text I got this morning from people who convinced that they're out there trying to help and save Black people and they're fighting racism. The only person I know that I can definitively say that they fought racism during my lifetime was Daryl Davis. He's the only one I know for sure. And he's the only one who's been affected by it. It was no groups. And he did that
Yeah.
because he went to go meet with the Ku Klux Klan and he loved it out of them.
Yeah.
Right. He gave up on this idea of, oh, I'm gonna force other people to like me or force other people to do the right thing. He went and said, hey, my name is Daryl. I play the guitar. Why don't you come hear me play? And I'm sure he's been beaten. I'm sure he's been accosted. I'm sure he's been through it. But a few people listen. And so if you really want to fight racism, you really feel that racism is a bad thing, there's only one effective way to do it. There's only one person who's been doing it. Everybody else has been increasing it. You make people hate you when you get out in the street and you start yelling with a Sharpie sign. And I appreciate y'all giving me a minute to say this because, like I said, it's unfortunately you have only certain people can say certain things to other people. They don't listen. And I'm not saying anyone even listens to me. I don't speak to women in certain ways because there's certain things that they just can't hear me on. They shouldn't hear me on because I'm a man. But I speak this way because part of why we're here is because people believe the things that the state tell them, and the state only works on abuse. It tries to get you to abuse other people to grow more racism because that's how they get power.
Right.
So the other side, the Trump side. So what do we need is we need people on the Trump side who are doing the same thing and they're chastising for that perspective. Like if you want to mend fences between communities, you go to that community and you love on that community. You go them and you show them that what the news said about you is not correct, and it goes away. Because anything else that you do, you're swelling the numbers.
Yeah.
But it means you got to give up a lot. You got to give up a lot. You got to give up a lot. So,
Right. Right.
but we're not supposed to have a lot anyway.
No.
We're not
no,
supposed.
we're
I don't
not.
believe
That's part of our problem.
Right.
we live in an
'Cause-
ecosystem, and we want to be billionaires, and we pretend we're fighting with billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that how like this whole shit is just superbly complicated, like beyond complicated,
Yes.
where like I think we make it this way so our human brains can't understand it, because literally life is just take what you need, don't be an asshole. That is life. Like you don't have
Never
to like
take more
make
than you
everything.
need.
Yeah, all you
Yeah.
gotta do is take what you
Yeah.
need and don't be
Yeah.
a jerk to people.
Yeah.
That is it. That
Yeah.
is as simple as it gets. And
I'm
But that's
quoting you on that.
we
that's it.
can't
That's
do
what.
that
Yeah.
because we need bank accounts and this and that
Yeah.
and rent, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, you don't.
Hey, that's funny.
T-shirt. That's the T-shirt. Take
Yeah.
what you need and don't be an
Be
a-hole.
an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the key to life?
Yeah.
I had someone ask me that the other day. They said, "What's the key to life?" And first of all, it's silly that you're asking me what the key to life is, but I would answer that with take what you need, not what you want. Take what you need. Until
Yeah.
children have all what they need,
Yeah.
no adult should have the things that they want. That's my
Yeah.
perspective. Take what you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
Don't be an a-hole.
There is something. There was like a friend of mine who went working in Africa a long time ago, And he had a house, and he had plates, and he had like he was living there with his wife, but he had like 6 plates and 6 spoons and 6 knives, but they were living with only 2. And then at some day, everything was disappeared, but only 2 things were left from everything. And then I find out, yeah, the people of the tribe did it, and they said, "Why do you do this? But you only with 2. Why do you have 10? Why do you need 10 of these and 10 of that? Of 10 of that, you're only with 2. We don't have it, so we take it." And I thought it was actually common sense because
Yeah.
why? That was so. I mean, it was like funny, but it was like common sense. You have only 2. You only need 2. You don't need like 20 spoons
Yeah.
or 20 forks. And they just took it away. They gave it. They didn't keep it for themselves. They gave it to people who didn't have it.
Yeah.
So
It's like a
it
friend
is.
of mine has a 5-bedroom house and he's single. And it's like,
Ah,
what the fuck do you
oh
need
my
5
God.
bedrooms for? I don't
Oh my
understand. Like,
God.
why are you wasting that much money and having that much, mortgage for what? Like, I don't, yeah,
Yeah.
nope.
That's
Just,
so much cleaning. 5-bedroom house.
yeah,
Yeah.
forget that.
That's what I think. Okay, I don't want
Your 5
anything big.
roommates.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys want me to read some of the
Oh, yeah.
Hermetica?
Yeah, maybe yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Very
great.
nice.
All right. So Susan recommended the chapter called Man is a Marvel. And this is chapter 11 out of I think the
Because God is about to tell you how special you are. That's
Okay.
my
that is
favorite.
right. That is
So,
right.
man,
Here it is right there,
and
the Hermetica.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Lost Wisdom
I
of the
don't-
Pharaohs. Frake and
Yeah.
Gandy are the editors, pretty sure. Yeah. Go ahead, George.
I don't know where I'm at. I think I'm on like chapter or section 4. I'm on the God section. I was doing this morning,
Mhm.
but when I heard the title, I just want to give my 2 cents. Man is a marvel. Man is amazing, but man is not a man, and that is the thing. So, and never having read it, I'm just going to put my little dice in the area and say that
Yeah.
this is why we have to treat each other as though we're gods and goddesses, because we're part of a one consciousness. We're all connected. You meet other people, and you think that you're meeting a black man or a white woman or an Asian person, and you're not. You're meeting a wave spiritual creature.
Yes. When you say
God
that,
of
I feel a lot of
Man is-
vibrations. Like the
Yes.
vibrations coming out of me. That's when you say it. It's totally true.
We are all a part of
Funny,
righteousness.
yeah,
We're a
works.
piece of consciousness. We're abused at birth, and we become these little shells of what we actually are.
Yes.
But I love the title, and I can't wait to hear it. But man, absolutely is a marvel.
Okay.
Okay. So this is chapter 11. It's titled "Man is a Marvel." I'm going to read the first part, which is the editor's kind of preface to each chapter. For those of you not familiar with the Hermetica, here it is. In this chapter, Hermes discusses the nature of mankind and its special relationship with God and the cosmos. God, the cosmos, and man are the 3 great beings. The cosmos is an image of God, and man is an image of the cosmos. Each is made up of many parts, yet each is greater than the sum of these parts. Man was created to be a vehicle through which God could continue to bring order and beauty to the cosmos. All beings have soul, the life force within them, but only human beings possess the power of mind, with which we can contemplate the cosmos and come to know the divine. Human beings are the meeting place of spirit and matter. We have, therefore, a dual nature. We are mind, enclosed by a physical body. The human mind is an image of God's mind. It is immortal, eternal, divine, and free. The human body, on the other hand, is mortal and controlled by the laws of destiny, which are governed by the stars. Hermes dares to suggest that this unique dual nature even places human beings above the gods. The gods, the heavenly bodies, are confined within their permanent orbs in the heavens and will never move beyond them. A human being, however, may both be on the earth and, through the power of his mind, ascend to the heavens. In the 20th century, We have used this power to journey literally to the stars and reach back through telescopes to see the origin of the universe. Being both spirit and matter, man is an intermediary between these two great principles. He is greater than beings who are merely mortal and above those who are purely immortal. He shares in the creative power of God. He even, with his mind, creates gods in his own human image. Hermes concluded that man is a marvel, worthy of wonder and reverence, a sentiment that fueled the humanism of the Renaissance. The purpose of human life is to rise above our merely human nature and awaken our divine nature. Human beings have the unique potential to know God, and God's greatest wish is that we fulfill this potential.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's the actual text itself.
Okay.
Yeah,
real
go ahead.
quick, though.
Yeah.
And then Thoth in the Emerald Tablets said that after he traveled to the stars and came back,
Right.
He found that the minds of men were far greater mystery than the cosmos itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Which men?
The mind, like our minds, are a greater mystery to discover than the cosmos is.
Because we have the capacity
free
to
will.
evolve.
Yeah.
And we have free will.
We evolve.
Ah,
We can
capacity.
evolve.
Capacity. Okay.
We
Capacity.
can evolve.
When
Yeah.
you said that, I saw
Capacity.
face panties.
Yeah.
I saw the panties, and I was like,
Yeah,
you know.
and we have free will because
Divine nature.
Yeah.
Less than men who want to walk around and sniff. All right, never mind.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I agree. The face cipher is a bigger mystery.
yeah, but
I don't understand how anyone's believing it.
yeah, no. But the thing is, we have the free will. So whether
Not in
but
2020.
we have the free will, do we evolve? No, we don't.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
and because the cosmos is having always the harmony, it's always starting with harmony. They don't go out of their orbs. The planets don't say, okay, the moon is not going to say, oh, I'm going to pay a visit to the sun, or I'm going to that
Right.
planet. It stays always in orbits, but we don't. We don't have our. So,
Yeah.
and that
Listen,
must be a mystery.
I'm just gonna put a pen in that one. I'm gonna write that one. We're in 2021, so I'm just gonna wait on that. I believe I do, but maybe in Hermetic, what's his name? Thrice Great Hermes. Maybe in his day, men were. If he could see that, their minds were greater than the mysteries of the universe. Right now, there's no mystery in men. They're all predictable. You can just see what they're gonna do. There's not a whole lot of mystery yet. So we have potential.
No,
We're
there's
gonna talk
definitely
about it.
mystery there
I was taking
because
notes.
you don't go crazy wondering like how the hell do they think like this? How are they believing this? It's a mystery that they believe this shit.
Blue,
So,
Gerard,
And-
blue pills are predictable. Consciousness is unpredictable.
It's living. Consciousness is living. Blue and red
Consciousness
pill is
living
dead.
is unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's why they want to program us, so they can predict our behavior, so they can control
Yeah.
us.
yep.
Exactly.
To break us. So I love two things I love. I'm gonna say real quick. So the human being is the meeting of the spiritual world and matter. That
Yes.
was beautiful.
That's
And the
nice.
Yeah.
science behind that being quantum physics, the science of the meeting of the energy world, the vibrational world and matter. The other things are the meaning of life is to rise above human nature. I find that to be beautiful because a lot of things I like to think about things from an evolutionary perspective, right? The monkey mind, swinging from trees, sniffing butts and stuff, and face panties, evolving beyond that, right? Evolving to get rid of the behaviors given to us because we live on a planet and we didn't have abundant resources. So this whole group conflict thing, you're a black person, so fight with black people. You're a white person, fight with black people. You're on this side, the left or right or whatever. These are chimp-minded, this is my troop. If we don't fight, we won't control the banana grove. So we need to murder everybody else to control it, right? And so these conflicts, politics by itself, that is a monkey-minded, narcissistic, sociopathic thing that was made systematic to make you ignorant and keep you fighting with other monkeys on a planet that has more than enough bananas, right? So I love that, right? The meaning of life is to rise above the evolved psychopathy that we were given to survive, especially now, where, like Christine said, we have the technology to feed everybody, house everybody, and release all human beings from human slavery. We need to rise above the psychosis of the 27 warriors.
In the Chinese oracle, the I Ching, there are 6 lines in every hexagram. And these 6 lines are divided into 2 trigrams. The lower and the upper, or the inner and the outer. And in the philosophy behind the I Ching, this is the union of heaven and earth. And in this Chinese philosophy, the 2 middle lines, the 3rd and the 4th line, represents human beings, human nature. And the 3rd and 4th lines are always the crisis lines. Okay. It's always when shit goes down. It's because as human beings, we have our 3rd line is on earth, and our 4th line is the bottom line in heaven. We have our feet are on the earth, and our head, our crown, is in the heavens, are capable of becoming in the heavens. It's this wisdom that what we just read out of here that you resonated so well with. It's everywhere. We just have to reclaim it, remember it, that we have a potential for transcendence.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Are human beings technology?
In a sense, yes, but we create the technology ourselves as well. It's like the universe says, okay, here's this river, and you're living on a desert. This side of the river is a desert. Over there is a beautiful garden with fruit trees and plants and everything. You should cross the river and enjoy the garden. Well, how do I get there? You'll figure it out. How do I get across the river? Well, figure it out. And it's not that hard.
It's going over the ocean. It's the void. It's the emptiness, because people feel emptiness, and the desire is to become whole. And they have to cross that ocean.
And we'll say to the universe, well, I don't know how. Okay, I'll send you a teacher. And then they send us stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like that. I don't. No. That's not right. Right.
Americans don't read.
No, my guru often. No, that's what my guru says.
Somebody said that they hide truth in a place where nobody will look for it, which is in books.
Yeah.
So we are technology. We're technology of the spiritual and physical world that are creating things that are based in the wisdom of both.
Yeah. And it's hiding in our mind and into connecting with the heart.
Yeah.
But that is what you the prophets they gave away, you can do this, we can do it like that. But the humans always say, no, there must be another way. There must be another way. They never do they never follow the path which leads to their salvation or whatever, to their higher wisdom. They always want something else.
Right.
So they're actually
plus we're a culture of now and easy.
Yeah.
And and most of us have no idea how it is actually. Like if you're actually living without the system, you're going to be like hunting, gathering food, foraging, growing food.
Right.
That is working every day just to live. But it's a different kind of work. It's not like you would actually feel good about it, in my opinion, anyway. You know, because like most of us go to work and then we're like stressed out and tired and feel like our soul's been sucked from us for 8 hours. You know? And it's not like that when you're working for yourself, you know.
Not like that, but still slavery. It's still slavery. Working for yourself, in my view, is...
Oh, okay. Well, in the Matrix, working for yourself in the Matrix is still slavery.
Right.
But working for yourself in the real world...
I mean, I've always owned a business since I was in my 20s. I've always had something going. Working for yourself, it's still slavery. You're still picking cotton. The only difference is You turn your cotton in at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You still got to pick as much or more than everybody else. It takes more time to pick it. Yeah, you get to pick and choose when you go out in the hot field and when you sit under a tree sometimes. But at the end of the year, like the banking system owns all of us. The debt-based system, taxes, the way this works. You know, and so I do believe people should go off and start a business. There's no question about that. I promote it all the time because it's more empowering. But it's the system that has to fall, right? Because even if you own a business, you always have a master. You always are being whipped. You always got to turn in your bag, and you always got to produce something for the 0.01%. There's no escaping that in the system. But it resonates more with a lot of people if they can kind of pick and choose when they do that labor. If they work Monday through, you know, this day, take off Friday, work Sunday or whatever. So what I'm saying is I don't want to give anyone the fantasy that, you know, working for yourself is some panacea and escape of the system. The system, there are no escapes out of the matrix, but destroying the matrix, right? Everything you do within it, whether you're an agent, you're a slave, you're a programmer, you know, you are still within the matrix and you still serve. And that's why I love these analogies of how the agents, they were slaves of the matrix too. It's like the whole Donald Trump thing and Obama and the governments and whatever, they're slaves of it too. Like the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, the people who own these banking systems, like you can hate them all you want. But at the end of the day, if they're born into that family, they pick up the narrative of that family and how they survive the lifestyle and culture that was handed down to them. It's keeping you a slave. It's keeping you stupid. It's buying your news. It's buying your government and your political parties, giving you narrative, buying pallets of bricks, giving $100 million to certain groups, putting a man in a crown as a barbarian and paying someone to let him in the Capitol building, right? Like these are the things that you do, and it doesn't make you evil. That's just you were born black, so you're gonna act black, right? You were born in a hippie family, you're gonna act like a hippie family. Like we're all given these birth bigotries, but we all serve as slaves in the matrix. And what we should be doing instead of trying to eat the rich, which I hate that saying, is you want to get rid of the system that would have anybody be poor or rich. We have to go back to being a free, egalitarian society. And will it be hard? Yeah, it will be. Nothing we're doing is hard.
Eat the rich is basically summed up the idea behind both the French Revolution and the Russian Revolution. Look how those ended.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, these are like sicko cannibalism people. Let's defeat them by becoming cannibalists too. Like, you know what I mean? Really, that's what you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
Well, it's the ability, and it's back to the title. And why I love reading books like the Hermetica, the Emerald Tablets, you know, even, you know, scriptures from the Bible and the Quran and the Gita, like talking back to root principles, right? You know, like what Brother Greg is saying, he's nailing a lot today, which is you got to cut the head off the snake. We have to all agree, what is the head of the snake?
Exactly.
Is the head of the
Otherwise, it grows back. When you don't cut the right one, it grows back. That's
right. Is the head of the snake the poor drug dealer on the side of the street? Is the head of the snake the Epstein? Is the head of the snake the president of the United States? Is the head of the and so to me, if you know what the snake wants, you can cut off its head by denying it what it wants. And in my understanding, as long as I've been on this planet, the snake wants the land. It wants the resources. It wants to divide people from the ability to sustain themselves independently. And so this is why nobody owns the land, and all your independence is taken from you and made into dependence. So if I know the snake wants the land, the resources, and me to love money and try to collect as much as I can and become emboldened of the things of this world, then I'm gonna do everything I can to get rid of the crap of this world and get rid of my love of consumerism and all of this crap and virtue signaling. I'm gonna take back as much land as I can to help as many people as I can. And so I think that's how you define the system. Like you look at what the system wants. Don't worry about necessarily where the head is at, because some snakes have false heads, right? Some snakes grow patterns on their back to look like heads, right? And you're chopping at your back and your tail. there's a lot of falsehoods.
There are a lot
And
of
so,
stories about snakes, and you have to cut. You have to find the right spot to. Like you said, to become unplugged from the system. It's the same. It's the same, and then the stories are
Right.
maybe meant for that. It's that story in Krishna. He had to kill the snake with the 7 heads, the kind of cobra, and which was poisoning all the waters. And what he did, he started dancing on the snake, and he tamed the snake. And instead of destroying it so it could not change, he tamed the snake. So instead of killing, something else evil will something else evil will come up. But it was like you have to tame it. You have to tame it in a way that becomes conscious.
yeah. I want to apply this to cuckoo virus because I was thinking about cuckoo virus in my head. So what is the head of the cuckoo virus snake? Right. So I look at what
Bill
they
Gates.
don't want people to do, what they
Bill
don't want
Gates.
people to talk about. Right? Well, yeah. So, but in my perspective, and from this angle, they don't talk about nutrition. They don't talk about health. They're not talking that cardiovascular disease is preventable, the number one comorbidity. They don't talk about, they never stop subsidizing junk food and sugar and glyphosate, all the things that we know are the basis of. So to me, if you were scared of the cuckoo virus and you wanted to cut the head off the cuckoo virus snake, because you can get rid of Bill and what'll happen? Fauci will step up. You can get rid of him,
Right.
one of the Rockefeller will step up. You can get
Right.
somebody else to step up.
Yeah.
But if you get your health back, you recover your strength, we rediscover
it.
what human food is, then you cut the head off the snake because nobody's getting sick
Yeah.
from
But that's
viruses.
true. Yeah, but that's
Because
true
they're healthy.
knowledge. That's
I
true
think
knowledge,
Riley's
I
right.
think,
Fear is the head of the snake.
Yeah.
Riley says fear is the head of the snake. That's
Don't wanna
it.
take
Yeah.
it to the
That's
root.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take it to the
Yeah,
root.
and what was
Yeah.
it? Where was it at? Crap. No, I'm not gonna find it. I'll try to find it.
And
In Death and Immortality. Go ahead.
In Death and Immortality chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
What is it?
And what is,
Oh,
we got to finish the
Here we
chapter
go.
we're on.
All right.
that's the knowledge. Yeah, but knowledge
Yeah.
will also kill the head of the snake. If we know
Yes.
the knowledge of
Yes.
health,
Knowledge-
if we know the
knowledge-
knowledge of consciousness,
Knowledge
it will,
destroys fear.
Yeah.
Wisdom
And what is
destroys
fear?
fear. Because some of these people have a lot of knowledge, but no fucking
Yeah.
wisdom.
Yeah.
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 But
They have
yeah,
information. They have
the true
information.
knowledge, the true knowledge.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like how somebody said fear is your belief that you know the future, right? It's based
yeah.
in you,
Yeah.
Yes,
you think you know
exactly.
what's going to happen.
Wow. Yeah, that's why we have to live in the present. Otherwise, we constantly,
Yeah.
exactly.
But so it's just like a little thing, but it said most people are, I read it to you guys earlier, but most people are ignorant of the truth and therefore afraid of death, believing it to be the greatest of all evils. So yeah, you're afraid of the truth because you're afraid to die. And like, I don't know, there's that meme with Lagatha where she's like, you couldn't kill me if you tried for 100 years, right? Because you can't. You could kill me 1,000 times and I will come back 1,000 times
Yeah,
because,
right.
and even it says that Jesus said it, like, if you really believe in God, then no man can harm you. And
true.
doesn't mean like if you
Right.
stab me with an axe, I'm not going to die. No, but I'm
And
gonna
Socrates
come back.
says that no harm can come to a truly just man.
Yes.
Right.
Literally
Yeah.
no harm.
You can't.
No.
You can't harm them.
Because your
Yeah.
intuition will always guard you. Because you follow your deeper voice, not the
Yeah.
outside voice.
I wanted to jump on Beaufont's comment. I agree with him too much, which is why I can't wait to disagree with him. I get excited on the inside. I like disagree with Beaufont. So yeah, and I think about this a lot, right? So in terms of health, because I'm a little bit of a health nut in my head, but yeah, a lot of people die from the bubonic plague. One, we should never be scared of it. Like that's one, because if we're scared of it, then it's going to be used to abuse us. So for me, like when it came to all of this stuff from this year, looking at how to cut off the head of the snake is like, okay, well, I don't really care if cases are up. I don't really care if people are dying. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to live my life. And, government has no right to pick and choose who lives and dies. Nobody has a right to do that. Or corporation, because it's not a government. And the other part, you go back and you think about the times where these plagues happen. It's just my personal belief that they can't happen today. Right? Every plague that occurred in human history that I've looked at, anyway, they all got assistance. Right? They were epidemics that cropped up in areas because we were very unhealthy people back then. I would challenge the idea that anybody was healthy at a time where they thought just putting things in your mouth, leavened bread and bread for breakfast, bread for lunch, bread for dinner, was going to create a healthy person with an immune system. Like we evolved in a Garden of Eden, in my philosophy, or what I think about it. We're supposed to eat nuts and fruits and lettuces and this, that, and your body has exposure to all these different compounds, so it can solve all the problems that it's kind of occurred for the millions of years that it's been evolving. Back then, this was after modern agriculture started, so the whole population was sick. So epidemics definitely kept up. In epidemics, every epidemic was turned into a pandemic because you had someone building an empire, right? So they were sending disease as far and wide as they could, which directly or indirectly was killing people. Throwing horses' disease meat into over the walls into the cities to make people sick. We've always used epidemics to make them into pandemics for empire building. Even back to the Byzantine Empire. So anyway, all the plagues I looked at, that was the case. That government helped spread it because government likes power. So, but then the root back to fear, which is you gotta live your life. There's a billion things that are probably within 100 feet of everybody right now that can kill them. As far as fungus,
there's things
bacteria,
on your body right now that are alive.
I agree with that. That's why I agree with that. You probably got stuff growing, some kookaburras or some dingleberries, and if you put that in the right spot, the E. coli said you'll die. So you can't. I don't think you can live in a space of fear. If you have fear, you're not actually living. Right? You have to do the best you can in the times that you are to be as strong as you can, and then you go out and live your life. And if you die, it's kind of like what Susan said. Then you come back. Okay, so here's the next part.
Right.
Yep.
That's kind of how I think about it. I'm not disagreeing with him. I'm just saying in general that I don't. When I think back to that time, I don't know of anybody unless they were on the Philippine island somewhere and they had all these different fruit trees. They were living in the Congo or something. Nobody was eating a well-rounded diet. They didn't know the things back then we knew now, right?
But they were also much more poor. There was much more poverty. There was much more poverty then also. I mean,
yeah,
that's right.
And somebody said that too. They said that the one of the something about the environment where disease spread the most is poverty.
Yeah, because they have no nutrition to feed them well, so it's easy to get sick.
Right.
And they're busy working. They don't have time for cleaning. They don't have time for getting rid of carpets and putting down hardwood floors. They don't have time.
That's why Gates and Big Pharma have always targeted the weak, the poor.
Yeah, and the poor
all over the world. They can't defend themselves. They can't hire lawyers to sue them. They can't.
No, disease spreads faster in impoverished communities.
Yes.
Because their immune system helps with nutrition.
Yeah. And economics help it to spread faster. You got to work 3, 4, 5 jobs. You're scared to lose this job. You're scared. You got to put food on the table. Your immune system shuts down because you got all this stress. You're getting sick. You're passing it on to kids. You're killing grandma. And people don't seem to realize. They're like, yeah, capitalism is the source of disease. No, communism and social. Communism and social.
Ism is the source of disease.
The global elite, they don't care if you got communism, capitalism, or socialism. They own the currency. They
created all of those systems. Every one of them, they created.
There you go. And it would be great if we could get to a time where people actually understood that. And they say, and this is where Beaufont, he always nails it, which is government, right? It's like everything that happens for him, he always goes back to it, but it's government, right? Like it's a master-slave relationship. You say you have a bill of rights, you say you have a constitution, but you have a government. And we don't have a government, we have a corporation. It doesn't care about nothing. But if you had a government, you still gave your energy to it. You gave your power to it, and push come to shove, they're going to take that power anytime they want because you've given them your energy.
Yeah, true.
So everything they do to you is justified.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's read Man as a Marvel.
All right.
Yeah.
Should I finish off Man as a Marvel, or do you want to jump to the Death and
do that.
Immortality?
Let's do that.
And then we'll wrap up, right?
And then we'll wrap up. Yeah, because some of us got slavery.
Okay.
Yeah. You've been on here for 2.5 hours and you didn't even some wisdom stuff.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay.
It's my fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Man is a marvel.
Okay.
Atum is first. The cosmos is second. And man is third. Atum is one. The cosmos is one. And so is man. For like the cosmos, he is a whole, made up of different diverse parts. The Maker made man to govern with him. And if man accepts this function fully, he becomes a vehicle of order in the cosmos. Man may know himself, and so know the cosmos, by being aware that he is an image of Atum and of the cosmos. He differs from other living things in that he possesses mind. Through mind, he may commune with the cosmos, which is the second God, and by thought, he may come to knowledge of Atum, the one God. The human body encloses pure mind, as if within a walled garden, which shelters and secludes it, so that it may live in peace. Man has this twofold nature. In his body, he is mortal, and in his intelligence, he is immortal. He is exalted above heaven, but is born a slave to destiny. He is contrasexual, bisexual, and his father is bisexual. He is sleepless, and his father is sleepless. Yet he is dominated by carnal desires and lost in forgetfulness. Of all beings that have soul, only man has a twofold nature. One part, called the image of Atum, is single, undivided, spiritual, and eternal. The other part is made of the four material elements. One comes from the primal mind. It has the power of the creator and is able to know Atum. The other is put in man by the revolution of the heavens. Man is the most divine of all beings, for amongst all living things, Atum associates with him only, speaking to him in dreams at night, foretelling the future for him, in the flights of birds, the bowels of beasts, and the whispering oak. All other living things inhabit only one part of the cosmos: fishes in water, animals on the earth, birds in the air. Man penetrates all of these elements with his sense of sight. He even grasps the heavens. To speak without fear, human beings are above the gods of heaven, or at least their equal. For the gods will never pass their celestial bodies and descend to earth, but a man may ascend to heaven. And what is more, he may do so without leaving the earth. So vast an expanse can his power encompass. By Atum's will, humankind is compacted of both divinity and mortality. He is more than merely mortal and greater than the purely immortal. Man is a marvel, due honor and reverence. He takes on the attributes of the gods as if he were one of their number. He is familiar with the gods because he knows he springs from the same source. He raises reverent eyes to heaven above and tends the earth below. He is blessed by being the intermediary. He loves all below him and is loved by all above him. Confident of his divinity, he throws off his solely human nature. He has access to all. His keenness of thought descends to the depths of the sea. Heaven is not too high for the reach of his wisdom. His quick wits penetrate the elements. Air cannot blind his mental vision with its thickest fog. Dense earth cannot impede him. Deep water cannot blur his gaze. Man is all things. Man is everywhere. Man not only receives the light of divine life, but gives it as well. He not only ascends to God, but even creates gods, just as Atum has willed that the inner man be created in his likeness. So we on earth create the gods in our human image. Is this not worthy of wonder? There are then these three: Atum, cosmos, man. The cosmos is contained by Atum. Man is contained by the cosmos. The cosmos is the son of Atum. Man is the son of the cosmos, and the grandson, so to speak, of Atum. Atum does not ignore man, but acknowledges him fully, and he wishes to be fully acknowledged by man, for this alone is man's purpose and salvation, the ascent to heaven, and the knowledge of Atum.
Beautiful.
Now that sounds similar to the Bible, right?
Yes. And to the Vedas, to all scriptures.
Yep.
Yes, yes, yeah.
But yeah,
we are a composite of two elements, heaven and earth.
Yeah.
And
It's nicely said.
Kierkegaard, the profound Danish philosopher, says that man spiritually understood is always in crisis. We always have one leg on earth and the other in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
We have consciousness, and consciousness implies the potential to evolve, but it also implies the potential to screw up.
Yeah.
That's why we're always in crisis.
Mm-hmm. And what is screwing up is admitting that you screw up. You know, sometimes you get out there and you protest and you say something stupid, or you're not fighting from a root principle. You're fighting a side effect, and you're helping the system more than you're defying it. And so there's nothing wrong with making mistakes.
Transparency with ourselves.
Yeah.
Honesty with ourselves.
I screwed
up. I made a mistake. Okay, I'm going to make another mistake, but I'm going to pick myself up again and try again.
And being okay with that.
Yeah.
Being okay with that. There's nothing wrong with we all make them every day. But to lock in and keep making the same mistake. And I'm not telling anybody protesting that they're making a mistake. No. You do you. Yeah. You look in the window and in the mirror and resonate, not the window. That's the opposite. Look in the mirror, you know, blaming your neighbor, you know, and if it resonates with you, then do that. But be okay with being wrong, because we're all wrong.
Yeah.
And so another quote from Beer and Ironside. But he says that he says, how many battles have you won, and how many have you, and more importantly, how many have you lost? Because it is in failure when we learn the most.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you mess up, it's when you make that mistake is when you learn the most.
Yeah, true.
When you win, you learn nothing. Amen. It's like a football game. Right? When you, someone said it, and I forgot who said it. He said, basically, we're going to go play this game, and we're going to beat us from yesterday. We're not worried about, we're not playing another team. We're playing ourselves. We need to be better than we were yesterday. Right? You're defying your weakness from yesterday. You're not playing another team. And so when you say that, what I think about is when you win, you know, it's okay, you won, you know, but what did you learn? You didn't really learn much because you won. And usually we relish in that success. But if you lost, then you go back, well, what did I do wrong? I didn't think about this. I didn't do this. They moved here. And so it's in failure, absolutely, that we learn the most if you want to. Mm-hmm. But if you fail and you think you won, or if you fail and you don't care, you're going to keep
blame everybody else.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And even if you have success, at one point you might not be satisfied anymore, and then you also start thinking.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, you should learn in success and failure. Mm-hmm. You know? But you definitely loss. I think that you would learn most. Mm-hmm. If you go do the same thing that Black Lives Matter did, and some agent provocateurs were literally let in the Capitol building and they didn't let you in, then it should be obvious that it failed. and something you have to readjust, and you thought that you were going to stand up and fight. Didn't he concede? Didn't Trump already concede? I don't know why anybody's talking about it.
Yeah, he did.
Didn't he concede?
Pretty sure he did.
I thought I saw it pop up. Because I don't follow it, but I get these.
I only know what the TV tells me. I have no idea what's really going on.
Right.
He could be an alien, you're right? He could be.
I have no clue. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure reptilian robot overlords run our country, but I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I'm on a Truman show, so. I
I'm
don't
going to
think
use that,
any of this
Susan. I'm
is
going to
real.
steal that from you. Alien overlords.
Reptilian
robots.
robot overlords. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it is. We're just going to combine all conspiracies together and roll with that.
Yeah.
It works as well as Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
always a
So we read-
duality. Yeah.
The
Duality.
only reason you have a system, it's got two legs of the table and they're holding it up. And they've
Yeah.
convinced you that they're not holding up this system, this table that the 1%, the 1% all dine at.
My uncle says, but this is really cute, actually. He says that there's aliens and demons, and we're the angels, but we forgot our power.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not that far
Yeah.
from
We
the
forgot
truth.
it. Yeah.
Not that far from the truth, no.
Not far from the truth.
Yeah. You're our angels. Let's see our wings.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna
They-
build a community
No.
and
They
learn how to
couldn't,
fly.
they couldn't do what they do to us if we had not surrendered our power. They couldn't.
No.
They couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But
Well, they
you know-
convince us that
Deception.
horns are
Deception. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
horns are
but
successful.
most of us were already born with our power given up
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
for us by our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were already born
Well,
into indoctrination.
The very nature of 3D is limitation,
Yeah. True.
poverty.
And then they want to go.
weakness.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
they want to go to 2D because then you're in the matrix. You're laying there and you're plugged in, and then you can dream your reality. That's 2D, nothing else. So and we have to
And
go
thank
to
goodness.
5D.
Thank goodness, because it's struggle that makes you want to struggle. It's struggle that makes you want to know the truth and actually fix things.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
If I were born in Rockefeller, like every now and then you hear about a Rothschild or Rockefeller who tried to do something to fix the system, and that, like Aaron Russo or somebody else, he mentioned the Rockefeller who told him all the stuff that he did. Every now and then you meet one of those, but the vast majority, like, no, I can work. I'm a slave of the system, but I work with this. I own islands and yachts, and so, it's that adversity. Like I'm thankful every day. I was born in a middle class family. Like if I were born in a wealthy family, what kind of bastard would I be? Ooh, I would be. Those horns, I would sharpen them horns every day.
Although
I would have red skin and a bifurcated tail, and I would create ways of sterilizing the population and not even let you. Oh, I was watching Stargate SG-1 yesterday. I've been catching up on my episodes,
is
but
that
there was an episode.
Sci-fi?
Yeah. What's on? I think it's on Hulu now. It's Hulu and Netflix. Y'all should watch it. If you think you're a sci-fi person and you have not watched Stargate SG-1, you have no idea what's going on. But there was an episode where the Shin came,
Yeah.
and I forgot about it. And I have to say this because this is important. Because I posted a meme from The Simpsons with the barbarian invading the Capitol, and they hit me on fake news. So you gonna hit me on
they
fake
even
news
got
on
the
this?
tattoos right.
They hit me on the fact check. And so in Stargate, there's an episode where the humans go through the Stargate, they go to different planets, blah, 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 blah. But they went to a planet and they met a group of people, other humans called the Ashen. So y'all will love it because the whole philosophy is that there were Stargates in ancient times that the Egyptians used. And those Stargates were created by a great race. And they took humans through the Stargate to all the different planets. And they all evolved in different ways to be ruled by the gods, Ra and all that. So you guys would love it. But because they link it to like Egyptian history. But anyway, there's one episode, they went through the Stargate, they met an advanced race of humans that were taken from Earth thousands of years. They're called the Ashen. And the Ashen came to help us. They were going to share their technology. They were going to do things. And guess what they did? They solved all our problems. So we became lazy. We didn't do anything. And then, so we didn't have the adversity, the struggle. And then they were going to double the human lifespan by giving us a vaccine. And that's what the vaccine did. It sterilized the population. It
Yes.
was sneaky and it was wonderful because it did it in a way through mass media, right? It was popular virtue signaling where the Shin are here to help. Don't talk bad about them. They're here. They brought us this, that, and the other, and free energy and all this stuff. They saved the human race. And so they used the media in this thing to sterilize the entire human population. And by the time they figured it out, it was too late. All the women were infertile. And it was just an interesting parody, which what a few scientists are cautioning us about today, about the proteins required for the spike protein and how much that protein looks just like a protein that's required by the placenta. And somebody even mentioned sperm. What doctor was that? I don't know. It's on the highwire.com. That it was interesting. I don't know
about that though.
But struggle. So it goes back to struggle. Why? Because if things are made too easy, then we sit back and relax. And I kind of think, you know, y'all know me. I love to go to aliens and stuff. Why won't they help us? Because if they help us, it's not help. If we help ourselves, it is help. But if they help us, then we're like, oh, okay, well, y'all got all that. Why should we invent anything? Why should we increase math? Why should we continue with biology? Why should we continue to evolve in this direction? Because you can just give us all the things that we need so we don't have to do anything. You know, it would make us lazy. It would give us butt spread, and then we would die of cuckoo virus. How that works?
Yeah.
All right. Any last wrap-up words? We've been here forever, stuff.
Yeah. I gotta pee.
We should start to wrap it up.
Me too. Drank too much tea. Gotta pee.
I know.
Me too.
I know. Seriously, that's what I was saying yesterday.
I'm sitting like this.
You're like, you're gonna take a shower for 2 hours. I'm like, do you realize how long? I'm ready to bring a pot with me if you hear some running water. So I can pee.
How awesome is it that we live in a time where there's so much going on that we actually could sit here for 2 or 3 hours and talk about, you know, from a principal perspective, the things that we got to do.
We never did before.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, we are the chosen ones. We live in a time where we're in a paradigm shift. We're either going to give Right. We're going to give corporations power, the elite, everything that they want. We're going to build a paradigm shift to a new world and give the next generation everything that they need, and then probably beyond that.
And the best part,
it's an honor to be alive right now.
And the best part is, it really is actually scary as shit what's going on right now. And, you know, we all pretty much know that at any second at this point we could be incarcerated or killed. And we're happy and laughing and having a good time making jokes about it. That's the best part.
Voila.
Yeah, that's how
they can't harm us. They can kill the meat suit. Big fucking deal. I'll come back again.
Yeah. First I'm gonna hunt them. I'm gonna hunt them. Before I come back, we hunt them.
Yeah. You don't know what you're asking for. I'm gonna remember this, buddy.
Welcome to the apocalypse. You got to choose your battle buddies well. You're either gonna cry and suffer through this, or you're gonna dance in the rain. It's up to you. But you gotta find people who realize that it's just rain. That's all it is. And you're not gonna die.
And it can't rain all the time.
Nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
You can't rain all the time, and hashtag we all gonna die. But we come back, so it's okay. It's about what you do while you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was it.
Anyone got some send off? That's it? No send off words? Somebody has to say something profound. That's how we end it.
Okay.
Every time you ask someone to say something profound, bullshit comes out.
Life is
that's profound, right there. That's it.
Don't make us think.
Because it's staged. No,
I got something here.
that's right.
I got something here.
Because it's not organic and it's staged. That's it. That was profound, but he found something. He was
I
thinking
got
something.
some.
What Christine was
This is
saying.
from
I forgot
Susan. You'll
to-
recognize this.
yeah,
This is from the
I
chapter
was
Rebirth.
planning to you and I forgot. So that, yeah, I forgot. I had
Gotta
something-
disconnect our telepathic
Yeah.
because I'm gonna make you forget everything.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. If you want to be reborn, purify yourself of the irrational torments of matter. The first of these is ignorance. The second is grief. The third is lack of self-control. Fourth is desire. Fifth is injustice. Sixth is greed. Seventh is deceit. Eighth is envy. Ninth is treachery. 10th is anger. 11th is rashness. 12th is malice. Under these 12, there are many more, which force the man who is bound to the prison of the body and its identification to suffer from the torments they inflict. By the one's mercy, they may all depart and be replaced by understanding. This is the nature of rebirth. This is the only road
You have to
to
become
reality.
the Buddha. You have to become the Buddha, desireless, but in a positive way. Yeah? So that that God can desireless means actually not like you don't do anything, but means like the divine will work through you. So you don't have to desire it for it.
The modern sage Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj said, "The mind has gotten you into this mess, and the mind has got to get you out of it."
Yes.
It's possible.
It is possible, but you gotta have the will.
Yes.
The will, there's a way. And if you
Right.
don't have the will to want to get out of the mess, if you want to keep just making more mess and messing up the room, mama said clean the room up, and you didn't clean the room, you're still messing the bed up, putting pizzas under the bed, trying to cheat nature,
Perseverance.
pretending you know science, abusing your neighbors. We're either trying to clean the mess or we're making more mess.
Perseverance overcomes all obstacles, and sincerity, sincere, which means undivided, means to, if you are sincere, you will overcome all evil.
Yeah, true.
In time, which doesn't really exist. It's
Also,
a choice.
Everything
It's
is
a
an
choice.
illusion. Yeah, everything is an illusion.
Time is an illusion, and it is a choice.
And
And the choice has to be made to develop yourself or not.
And I just wanted to say real quick that, like, you know, we keep talking about going to a 5D and the Great Awakening and everything. So in the beginning of Death and Immortality, in the Hermetic Hit, it says the end of becoming, which becoming is becoming you, like reaching your higher calling, right? The end of becoming is the beginning of destruction. The end of destruction is the beginning of becoming. The new comes out of the old.
Yeah.
So the old has to be destroyed for the new to become.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's the Pisces, the age of Pisces has to be, all the deception has to be destroyed to go in the age of Aquarius.
Hashtag we're all gonna die.
All gonna die. On that note, y'all have a great day. It was, thank you for everybody for joining in. Hashtag we're all gonna die. But it's all about what you do while you're here. And if you get them back when you come back. All right. Y'all have a great day now.
Yes.
Break the chains that bind me, 'cause I wanna break the chains that bind you. Do you wanna set the world free, have perfect harmony? Isn't it time for that? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people from the bottom to the top? Make modern slavery stop. Do you wanna let go of the prisoners? See everyone happy. We can have this and more if we open up the doors. Well, what do you think? wanna free, boom, boom, free the people and Mother Nature too? Close down all the zoos. Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna boom, 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 boom? Do you wanna free, boom, boom, free the people? Do you wanna free, boom, 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 free the people?